A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
And now, tonight's presentation of radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense. Tonight, we bring you a story of lost and found. The found being a wallet, the lost being a life. We call it Love, Honor, or Murder. So now, starring Miss Charlotte Lawrence with William Conrad, here is tonight's suspense play, Love, Honor, or Murder.
7 years of wedded bliss, and the only thing to show for it is this stinking place. Believe me, kid, if I ever got my hands on $1,000, I'd get out of here so fast. Oh, hold it a minute, Alice. Someone came in. Is that you, Harry?
Yeah, it's me. I came home early.
Well, if you expect to find dinner at this hour, you're going to be disappointed. Well, it's Harry, Alice. What was I saying? Oh, yeah.
Honey, will you cut the conversation? Something's happening.
What?
Cut the conversation. Here, give me the phone.
Well, of all the...
Alice, Helen will call you back later. Goodbye. Baby, you know what I got here? $12,000.
Are you out of your mind, Harry?
Helen, I found this wallet in my cab just a few minutes ago.
What?
Here, look inside. Open it up. Go on.
Harry, $100 bills.
The 50s and 20s and 10s. More than $12,000.
$12,000?
Now it was all right to come home early, huh?
What? Oh, gee, I don't know what to say.
Well, you just take it easy, baby. Don't get too excited. I got to give it back.
Give it back?
Well, yeah, look at the name inside the wallet there.
But you brought...
Well, it belongs to a regular customer of mine, Sidney Walker, the news commentator, you know. I take him around town every afternoon. He calls up for me personally.
$12,000.
Yeah, but as far as we're concerned, it's not worth 12 cents. They don't turn it into the company before Walker calls about it. Well, they can throw me in the pen for 5 years.
And why did you bring it home?
I don't know. I guess I shouldn't have at that. Well, it's just that I never saw so much money before, and I wasn't very far away, and I just had to bring it home short.
You had to bring it home and wave it under my nose. That's like you.
Oh, now, Helen.
That's just like you, Harry.
Give me the money, Helen, before Walker's going to remember leaving the money in my cab. He'll call up the company.
Oh, wait a second, Harry. How long ago did you find the money?
Oh, about 20 minutes ago, I guess. I came straight home.
Now, what's the hurry?
What?
Well, as long as you're home, why don't you wash up and I'll fix your supper. I'll make you a fine supper.
Oh, I don't know, Helen. I ought to get back.
Go on, honey. Wash up. Give us a chance for a little while to kind of pretend that money belongs to us.
Ah, that coffee really hits the spot. Why didn't you eat, honey?
Well, I was thinking.
Yeah, well, someday we'll have it too, baby.
We got it right now, Harry.
Yeah, for about 5 more minutes. Well, I guess I better report in now. It's almost been an hour. Walker will be calling the company pretty soon. I want the money to be in the safe when he does. Give me the wallet, Helen.
How do you know Walker will call the company?
Oh, we've gone all through that. He'll call because he remembers the ride with me. We went over a bumpy stretch, easy for his wallet to pop out. Then he'll probably remember.
He could have lost it so many other places. He may not even think of the cab ride. If he doesn't, won't you feel like a fool?
Well, that's better than cooling my heels in some jail.
I know what I would do if I were you.
What?
I'd take the chance that Walker wouldn't remember, that he wouldn't call. I'd keep the money.
Helen, stop.
That's what I would do, but not you. You've always been afraid to take a chance. You've always been content to be nothing.
Well, I'm sorry I ever came here with the money. Now, you give it back to me, I'm going to turn it in the company.
Do you love me, Harry?
That's got nothing to do with it.
Oh, but it has everything to do with it. If you leave this house with the money, When you come back, I'll be gone.
You're talking like a sap now.
I mean it.
Give me the wallet, Helen.
Here it is, Harry. When you come back, I'll be gone.
Yeah, I'll bet you will. Well, I gotta be going now. I'll see you later, honey. I'll be home later.
It doesn't matter when you come home. You won't find me here.
Helen, stop talking like that, huh? So long, Helen.
It's really goodbye, Harry. I mean it.
You know, from the first day we were married, you've been twisting me around your little finger only because you know how much I love you and how much I need you. I guess you'll never stop doing that, will you, Helen?
Well?
What do you want me to do?
Nothing, darling. Nothing. Leave everything to me.
Cab company.
This is Mr. Sidney Walker's personal secretary calling.
Well, don't tell me that cab Mr. Walker ordered hasn't got there yet. I sent it out hours ago.
Oh, it got here all right. It's not that. We're trying to locate Mr. Walker. I just wondered if by any chance you might have heard from him.
Huh? Well, no, if he got his cab all right, why should he have called us?
Of course, you're right. Well, thank you very much.
Well?
He hasn't reported anything yet.
What? That don't make sense. $12,000 a lot of money, even for Walker.
Give me the phone book.
Who are you going to call now?
Why, Mr. Walker, of course. Got to find out why he hasn't reported losing his wallet.
Look, Helen, why don't you let me take the money back? Maybe you'll give us a good reward, huh?
You're not going to do anything. Let's see. Oh, here we are.
Helen, you're going to get us in a lot of trouble.
I know what I'm doing.
Helen, please, you're going to get...
Hello?
Hello. I'd like to speak to Mr. Walker, please.
He's not in right now. This is Mr. Walker's housekeeper. Could I take a message?
No, this is a personal matter. Where could I be certain of reaching him?
Nowhere until 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock?
Yes, that's when he does his nightly broadcast, you know.
Oh, yes, of course. And what time does he reach the station?
5 minutes to 10.
You're quite sure he'll be there then?
My heavens, you could stake your life on it. That's been his schedule for a good many years. Who is this talking? Are you a friend of Mr. Walker's?
Oh, yes, my husband and I have known Sidney for a long time.
Well, as long as you're a friend, I can tell you Mr. Walker has a busy evening ahead of him.
Oh?
He lost his wallet an hour or so ago. It contained a lot of money.
That's too bad. I do hope he finds it.
Oh, he'll find the wallet all right. He's out looking for it right now.
Does he have any idea where he might have lost it?
Oh, yes. And he's mighty disappointed it hasn't been returned.
He knows who found the wallet?
Not exactly. I think he knows who should have found it. He didn't say who.
Oh.
He's too kind and easygoing. That's what he is. I'd have called the police right away.
Oh, why hasn't he?
Oh, he doesn't want to cause any embarrassment or hard feelings, you know. So first he's going to look everywhere else he's been this evening.
And if it still doesn't turn up?
Well, he says if this fellow he suspects hasn't come by the apartment to return the money by the time he gets home, then he'll report it all right.
If we want to reach Sidney before he gets home, you say he will arrive at the radio station just before 10.
At 5 minutes to 10, on the dot.
Then we'll contact him there. Thank you. That was his housekeeper. By what she said, he knows he left the wallet in your cab.
See, I told you.
But he hasn't reported it yet. Mr. Walker is a very fair man.
Well, then I'll have time to take it back down to the company.
We've got to decide what we can do to keep Walker from reporting his loss.
There's nothing we can do, Helen. You just said he knows that he left the money in my cab.
That's right.
Well, then what's there to decide? What are you smiling about?
Oh, was I smiling? I was thinking of something.
What?
You know, there's really only one way in all the world to keep Walker from telling about that wallet.
What are you talking about? The only way to keep Walker from telling would be to kill him. Oh. Look, Helen, we got to decide what we're going to do. Now, let's stop the jokes.
Do I look like I'm joking?
No. No, you don't.
There's that gun in the dresser drawer.
Helen, what are you talking about?
You've got to kill him. It's simple arithmetic.
Can I, Helen? He's never done me any harm.
If he lives, you'll call the police and tell them you've stolen his money.
That's why I got to return the money.
And if you do that, you'll lose your wife.
But, Helen...
Look how simple it is. At 5 minutes to 10, you can be absolutely certain that he will be going in the broadcasting studio. If you were waiting outside for him, there's so many quiet places you could take him with a gun.
But, Helen, listen to me. Even if I wanted to kill him, I couldn't. I haven't got the nerve.
Oh, but you have. Every man, even a man like you, can kill once. If he's got to kill to get rid of the thing that'll destroy him.
No, Helen. I can't do it.
You can, Harry. You can do it for me.
Look, why don't you just let me take the money back? It'd be so much better that way, Helen.
What time is it?
What?
What time is it?
10 minutes after 9.
You couldn't take the money back now, even if I let you.
Why couldn't I?
What time should you have reported in with your cab?
Well, 8:30. What difference is that? Oh. So that's it.
See what I mean? If Walker reports his loss now, you're in trouble no matter what you do. They'll know you were thinking of keeping the money. And in their eyes, that's almost as bad as really keeping it.
Helen,
you know the rules of the company. You're supposed to inspect your cab after every fare. If they don't arrest you, they'll fire you and blackball you so you'd never get another job.
That's why you kept me here, huh? Made supper for me, stalled around. You figured that one out, too, didn't you, Helen?
Walker will get to the station at 5 to 10. You've got 45 minutes. Start out and act as if you were on a regular run. That'll be your alibi later. Stop at all the usual places. Talk to the boys. Act as if it were just another night.
What about my schedule? I was supposed to be in at 8:30.
Well, you could always tell them business was so good you couldn't come in. Shall I get the gun, Harry?
Yes. You are listening to Love, Honor, or Murder, tonight's presentation in radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense.
Tomorrow night, there's action and excitement when on most of these same CBS radio stations, the FBI in Peace and War unravels another thrilling case involving crime and racketeers. Stand by for thrills tomorrow evening on CBS Radio with the FBI in Peace and War.
And now we bring back to our Hollywood soundstage Miss Charlotte Lawrence, starring in tonight's production, Love, Honor, or Murder, a tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
Harry, is it you?
Huh?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was my husband. What do you want?
Oh, you must be Mrs. Blake, Harry's wife, huh?
Yes, what do you want?
Say, have I talked to you on the phone before?
Why?
Your voice sounds kind of familiar.
You may have. Who is it?
This is Dave Harris over at Peerless Cab Company.
Peerless Cab Company?
Yeah, say, have you seen Harry in the last couple of hours?
Why, no, he's out working.
Well, he should have been through with his shift at 8:30. It's 25 to 10 already. It's not like Harry.
Is something wrong?
Well, I don't know. One of Harry's regular customers, Sidney Walker, called up a few minutes ago from a restaurant on the way to that broadcast of his.
Yes?
He thinks he left a wallet in Harry's cab. I said he thinks he left a wallet.
I heard you.
Well, with $12,000 in the wallet, Mrs. Blake, and according to Walker, he's looked everywhere else. He might have lost it and it hadn't turned up. Just wants me to contact Harry as soon as possible and tell him to look in the back of his cab.
If Harry should call, I'll tell him to get in touch with you right away. What did you say before?
Huh?
Walker called and told all this before he started for the station?
What? What are you talking about, Mrs.
Nothing,
Blake?
nothing. Walker called before he reached the station. And Harry will be waiting at the station to kill him. But now Walker's already told him that maybe Harry took the wallet. Everything will point to Harry. They'll arrest him 10 minutes after he's killed Walker. And Harry will tell them everything. He's weak. He'll try to blame me. He'll tell them I made him do it. I've got to call him back. I've got to stop him before he kills Walker. 25 to 10. 20 minutes to reach him. I've got to reach him. I told Harry to make all the regular stops so everyone would remember him. He'll stop for gas at the taxi garage. Reached in there before. 7. 9. 9.
Yeah, this garage.
This is Mrs. Blake calling. Harry Blake's wife.
Oh, yeah, Mrs. Blake?
Has Harry been there yet? To get his gas, I mean?
Nope, he hasn't been here all night. Say, what's he been up to?
What do you mean?
I just got a call from the main office to hold him here when he does show up.
Look, Harry always told me you were his friend.
Sure.
He's in trouble. Terrible trouble. I haven't time to explain, but if I don't reach him right away, I don't know what'll happen.
Well, I don't know what I could do, Mrs. Blake.
You can tell me the names and telephone numbers of some of the places cabbies like Harry stop at while they're on their runs.
Well, the boys stop at Gus's Coffee Shop on 6th Avenue for coffee.
What's their number?
Randolph 67098.
Randolph 67098. All right. Where else?
Maybe if he had a few minutes to spare, he'd go into Frank's Tavern on Washington Boulevard. I don't know the number there.
I'll look it up. Where else?
Oh, of course, he might go up to Union Headquarters to shoot a rag with the boys.
Union Headquarters? Where else?
There's lots of places he might stop off at. Gotta reach him by 10 o'clock, eh? That doesn't leave you much time.
No, it doesn't leave me much time. I'll start calling. What can I do now? I've tried everywhere. I've got to stop him, but how? 15 minutes to 10. 10 minutes. Only 10 minutes. Let me think. Radio station's on 6th and Main. It's 2 miles away. Maybe I could get to Harry before Walker reaches there. I've got to try. I've got to stop him. Driver, when I got into your cab, you told me you could get me to the radio station in 10 minutes.
I didn't give you no guarantees, lady. I'm doing the best I can.
But I've got to get there before 5 of 10. You told me you could make it.
It don't do no good to holler in my ear, lady.
Well, there must be some better way to make time. Can't you take side streets or something? Oh, again you're stopping.
It's the traffic, lady.
But you told me...
I know what I told you, but I didn't think there was so much traffic.
Please hurry.
Yeah.
Oh, look, I'll pay you anything if you can get me there in time. Oh, now what's wrong?
The traffic is lousing us up.
What time is it now?
Oh, about 10 minutes to
Don't
10.
tell me about. I want the exact time.
Exact time. 7 minutes to 10.
7 minutes to 10. How much farther is it to the station?
Well, I can tell you this. We're not going to make it in 2 minutes.
And there's no need to make it at all. Take me home. Just a minute or two before 10. He'll be coming home soon. They'll trace the killing to him fast enough. He'll come here and take us both away. And the money, too. The money, too. Wait. Why? Why should they come here? Why should they get the money? Why do I have to take the blame for what Harry did? I didn't commit the murder. That money I could get away. They wouldn't look for me too hard. Well, I'm not going to suffer for what Harry did.
Police Department, Sergeant Graham speaking.
I want to report a murder.
What's that?
You're too late to stop the murder, but you can still catch the killer.
Wait a second.
His name is Harry Blake. He drives a taxi cab. The taxi number is 365. You should find him somewhere around the radio station on 6th Avenue.
Who'd he kill?
He killed...
Oh, Helen. Go on. Finish your conversation.
How did you get back here so soon?
A good cabby can make time when he has to.
You killed him, huh?
It's just after 10 o'clock. Turn on the radio and find out. No, but you're talking on the phone, huh? I'll turn the radio on for you.
The police will come here and look for you. They'll catch you, Harry. Did anyone see you do it? Did they try to...
Mr. Sidney Walker. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Sidney Walker. Tonight I'm going to bring you a report on a recent interview I had with one of the most prominent industrialists in America.
That's all I want to hear. Turn it off. So you didn't kill him after all. I should have known. I should have known. I actually thought you went through with it. But you didn't have the nerve.
No, I didn't kill him. But I did have the nerve, Helen. You gave me the nerve. That pep talk before I left, it was very true, you know.
What are you talking about?
You remember? Even someone like me can kill once. He's got to kill to get rid of the one that'll destroy him. Now, those were your very words, Helen.
Then why did you kill Walker?
Because I got to thinking about what you said and how right you were, and the more I thought about it, the more I realized...
Realize what?
That I was headed in the wrong direction.
What do you mean by that? Put that gun away, Harry.
In order to rid myself of the one thing in the world that can destroy me, I had to come back here to you. Helen.
Hello? Hello? Hello?
Hello. This is the police department, isn't it? I heard her talking to you.
Yeah, sure, it's the police department. What's going on there? What were those shots?
Well, this is my wife reporting a murder.
Yeah, but she didn't tell us who was killed.
Oh. Well, you see, officer, until this very moment, she really didn't know.
Suspense, in which Miss Charlotte Lawrence with William Conrad starred in tonight's presentation of Love, Honor, or Murder. Next week, the story of betrayal and retribution on Devil's Island. We call it The Stool Pigeon. That's next week on Suspense. Suspense is produced and directed by Anthony Ellis. Tonight's script was written by Larry Marcus. The music was composed by René Garrigan and conducted by Wilbur Hatch. Featured in the cast were Barney Phillips, Helen Klebe, Charles Seal, Jack Crucian, and William Justine.
Listen while you work. Perry Mason is here on the CBS Radio Network.
And now, tonight's presentation of radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense. Tonight, we bring you a story of two men forced to live together in the frozen north. We call it A Study in Wax. So now, starring Mr. William Conrad and Mr. Stacey Harris, here is tonight's suspense play, A Study in Wax.
It was late October when the radio shack burned down. We never did decide whose fault it was. Maybe Cabell with his cigarettes, maybe me. Anyway, I guess the whole thing began when we lost the phone transmitter and receiver. Cabell and I had been sent up to the Northwest Territory by the Canadian Geodetic Survey people. It was a long job, and the biggest part of it for Cabell was the loneliness. It wasn't that he was moody or anything like that. I think he wasn't used to being out of touch with people and things he was accustomed to in the cities. Now, I was the opposite. I kind of liked the loneliness. As a matter of fact, now that I think about it, we were a strange couple to hit it off the way we did. And when you got 7 months to spend alone with another man, well, you got to be sure of each other. And we thought we were. Until after the radio was gone. That day it burned, we stood in the snow watching the embers glowing and the wisps of smoke rising into the cold sky.
It's gone.
Well, we still got the code sender, just in case.
I'm going to miss the programs, though, and the music.
You know, I tell you, we could send a message to the base, if you like, and ask them to fly out another receiver.
Huh? Oh, no. You know, McLeod. He'd boil, waste the money, probably take it out of our pay. We'd do without it.
That's all right with me.
Well, you're a hardy soul. You know, I don't think you'd mind if you had to stay alone for 7 months.
It'd be dull. I wouldn't have anybody to beat at chess.
Say, Jack.
Yeah?
If it was my cigarette that burned the shack, I'm sorry.
Ah, forget it. I may have done it myself. Forget it. By the end of November, we'd done pretty well, as far as work was concerned. But Cabell was getting jittery. We had a week stretch where we couldn't move out of the camp. It was around 30 below outside and blowing 60 miles an hour. Cabell had read most of the things that we brought along and was sitting at the table trying to beat a solitaire game. I was all in the gun. Now the odds are against you every time.
Don't I know it? Oh, how I wish this weather would ease off.
Yeah, well.
Hey, I got an idea.
Now, what?
What do you say we open our Christmas presents tonight?
Our Christmas presents? It's November.
I know, but I bet there'll be some books in there. I told my folks to pack some books.
Oh, well, what'll you do when you finish them? Huh?
I don't know, but I got to do something. I wish we had the radio.
Look, we can send a message. If McLeod wants to cut our heads off for burning up his property, he'll have to come up here to do it. If not, well, maybe he'll be feeling good and send it.
No, it's worth a try. It's not you, Jack. We talk and play chess, and it's swell, but I just miss the outside. I feel...
Yeah, I know. Okay, how would this sound? Radio shack burned to ground. Can you send new receiver? Have only small set on fixed channel.
Well, couldn't you say emergency?
Oh, that'd go over big with McLeod. We miss Canadian and U.S. mystery shows, must continue to hear them in order to keep up our work. We better leave it as it is.
All right.
Well, here we go. Oh, McLeod's gonna love this. The reply from McLeod came back the following day. It was long, involved, and said what could have been said in one word: no. You know, our chief was a very careful man and believed in others following his example. Therefore, if our radio was gone, it was our fault, and the next time we should be more careful. And that was that. The weather let up a bit, and we got some work done. It was still terribly cold, but it didn't bother us now that the wind had gone. I noticed that Cabell was much quieter after our request for the radio had been turned on. And I began to get a feeling as though he blamed me for it. So a week before Christmas, we'd just finished supper. I said, Larry, about those Christmas presents.
What about them?
What do you say we open them, huh?
Well, I thought you didn't want to until Christmas.
Well, I've changed my mind.
Huh? What's the matter? You trying to be nice to me? I can take this as well as you can, you know. I don't need you feeling sorry for me.
I'm not sorry. I don't give a good stink one way or the other. I'm just saying if you want to open the packages now, it's all right with me. They're yours. It's not my business. Oh, forget it. Do what you want to do.
Will you open yours up too?
Sure.
Okay.
He got a hammer and started to pry open the case. Our families and friends had done their shopping in August, and we'd put their gifts together in the case. And at the sight of those colorful wrappings, Cabell began to smile. He was back in touch again. There were little things, but a label, a scratch of handwriting, the feel of something different was blotting out his loneliness, that great far coldness outside.
Come on over.
Okay.
If it doesn't feel like books, they wouldn't pack them like this, would they?
I don't mind.
Hey, look! Hey, look what we got!
What is it?
It's a phonograph.
Here, I'll take it.
And there's a whole stack of records. There must be... Oh, of all the lousy, crummy luck.
Oh, what's the matter?
Look, they're broken.
Oh, that's a shame. All of them?
No, wait a minute. There's one. There's two of them, okay?
Oh, that's good.
Listen to this, will you? A variety of bugle calls.
What?
No, I mean it. A variety of bugle calls. Look, it belonged to my father. I remember him playing it for me when I was a kid.
Oh, well, what's the other one?
Oh, that's great. Saber Dance, Catch a Train. It's one of my favorites.
Oh. No Les Brown or anything like that, huh?
No, just the... That's right, I forgot you. You don't much like classical music, do you?
No, not much. Oh, that's okay. Come on. Let's take a listen to that bugle call thing, huh? That ought to be something.
Okay. Oh, wait till I tell my sister about that fancy packing job of hers. I've heard that one 1,000 times.
Oh, those good old Army days.
Now, wait till you hear the next one.
They got a lot of laughs out of the old record. Played it a couple of times and then had a couple of drinks. You know, I tell you, that phonograph, even with only 2 records, it made a lot of difference to us. The strain seemed to be gone. Then Cabell put on his Saber Dance and got lost in it. Well, to me, it wasn't much. It was all cluttered up with a lot of noise that hurt your ears. He must have played it a half a dozen times while we unwrapped the rest of the things. There were a lot of books and magazines, and that was good. Well, I figured we could stretch them out for at least 3 months, which would take us into March. But the next day turned bad again. A blizzard came down. And we stayed inside until the day after Christmas. And Cabell, he was like a kid. He smoked cigars, drank brandy, listened to his record, and read. In 10 days, he'd read every single thing. And then he had nothing to do but listen to his record.
Oh, that's great.
Look, you're not going to play it again.
Just this one part.
Look, I don't mind not listening to it for a while, huh? Try the bugle calls. They're quieter.
You ought to learn to appreciate good music, Jack. You're missing something.
Well, maybe I will, but not from that.
No, this is beautiful.
Well, not to me. Now, will you let it go for a while?
Sure, if you feel that way about it. How about a game?
No, not right now. Thanks. I want to finish this article I'm reading.
You're reading? Oh, yeah, I read that. It's not much. That guy never could write.
Oh? Well, I think it's pretty good.
Well, depends on what you're used to reading, I guess.
And what kind of a crack is that?
Nothing. It just depends on what you're used to reading, that's all.
Does that make me a lowbrow?
You said it. I didn't.
You, better check the oil outside.
I did it yesterday. It's your turn.
I did it this morning. In this weather, we do it twice a day, remember?
Yes, sir.
Are you trying to be funny?
No, I don't like the way you said it, that's all. We're both in charge, not you or me. Nobody gives orders here. We share the responsibility.
Okay, then do your share.
All right, I'm going out to check the oil, but not because you say to do it, you know, but because I want to.
Well, good for you. When I think of it now, we sounded like a couple of kids. And I can't even remember what it was that set us off. But I'll never forget what happened because of that day. You don't easily forget a thing like death.
You are listening to A Study in Wax, tonight's presentation in radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense.
This is a new sound in the history of mankind, the sound of atomic energy. The crackling comes from a model atom smasher, similar to large models used in treating deep-seated cancer and sterilizing foods and drugs. Sounds like this one, and the stories behind the sounds, are the subject of CBS Radio's current program series called The Age of the Atom. The peaceful uses of atomic energy open endless possibilities for us all. Hear them discussed by leading atomic scientists and specialists from all over the world on CBS Radio's Age of the Atom program series, now being broadcast by most of these stations. Consult your local listings.
And now we bring back to our Hollywood soundstage Mr. William Conrad and Mr. Stacey Harris, starring in tonight's production, A Study in Wax, a tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
Cabell and I didn't talk to each other for the next few days. Not the way we used to, I mean. Just conversation that was necessary to do our work, and that was it. He didn't play his record, either. New Year's Eve day, we got a couple of messages through in code from our families, and I guess we both felt pretty bad. Cabell was trimming the oil stove when I decided to try to make things up. Say, Larry.
Yeah?
Look, about that business the other night, I'm sorry.
That was my fault. We were both kind of silly, you know?
Yeah.
Probably just as well we had to bust up then. There's still 3 months to go. 3 long months before the ship comes back.
Yeah, no. Oh, well, thanks for not playing the record.
It's okay. Oh, I wish that wind would stop. It gets on my nerves.
You know, I got something good for that.
Oh, what's that?
Something to toast the new year.
Champagne!
Yeah.
Hey, what an idea. That's wonderful, Jack.
We'll stick him outside for a couple of minutes and cool him off.
Here, go to me. I'll do it. Oh, that's cool out there. You know, the best thing for you and me to do tonight is to get roaring, stinking drunk.
Champagne with brandy chasers.
Right.
Happy New Year, Larry.
Same to you, Jack.
We got drunk. We got red-eyed drunk. And we talked about women and ourselves and our dreams. And it was sloppy and it was great. The kind of haze you get when it doesn't matter and you're feeling good about everything. It was fine. Until Cabell decided it was time to hear some music.
Jack, I want you to really listen to this. Really listen. That's Cacciatore. Now, he makes them all look sick with this stuff. Now, I want you to listen to it.
No, I don't want to hear that thing. Now, don't put it on for me. I don't want to hear it.
I know, but if you just listen once, give it a chance. So you never listen now. Come on. There. See the rhythm? Hey, that's great. That's great music. That's really great.
That's music's a lot of noise.
Shut up. You're not listening.
Don't tell me to shut up. La 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 la.
You don't understand good music. That's what's the matter with you. You just don't understand.
I understand. I don't want to listen to that.
Well, I want to hear it. Right. Now, don't take it off, Jack.
Look, you take your hands off me or you're going to get hurt.
Just stay away from the machine, Jack. You hear? Just come on. Hey, don't get pushy, friend, huh?
No.
I'm going to kick your brains out for that.
I'm sick of you and your filthy music.
Don't touch that record!
Now, you take a good listen. Because you're not going to hear any more of this again. Not as long as I'm here.
Put it down, Jack. I mean it. Now put it down or I'll shoot you. Put it down. If you don't, I'll shoot you. Now put the record down.
I got sober. I might never have had a drink. I was so sober. Cabell had reached up for one of the holsters that hung near the door, and he wobbled to his feet, the gun held tightly in his hand. There was blood running out of his mouth and down his chin. I just stood there. I put the record down on the turntable.
You were going to break it, weren't you? Weren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I knew you would. Just because it gives me pleasure to listen to it, and you don't like that. Well, I want to listen to it, and you don't. All right? You get outside.
You're crazy, Cabell.
Go on. I'll kill you if I don't. Now get outside.
It's 40 below out there. I'd freeze
I don't care. It'll do you good. Now go on. Get outside.
All right, let me get my things.
No.
Listen to me. You're drunk. You don't know what you're doing.
Open that door. You hear me? Now go on. Open it. Now go on out.
Harry! Let me in, Harry! Do you hear me? Let me in, Larry! And inside, I thought I heard the music again. He was crazy. Crazy drunk. I went around to the back trying to get away from the wind, but it wasn't any good. There wasn't anywhere to get away from it. I've seen what happened to men caught out in the open this way, and I knew how quickly it could happen. So I ran, and I jumped. Anything to keep moving. And all the time, I couldn't believe it was happening. I don't know how much time went on. Maybe it was a minute. Maybe it was 10. I heard him calling. Then through the flurries of powdered snow blowing off the roof, I saw Cabell standing in the doorway. And I saw the gun still in his hand, hanging by his side.
Jack! Jack, come on in, Jack!
I forgot the cold. I only knew that Cabell had gone mad. He was going to kill me. Somehow I had to get him away from the cabin, get him outside where I'd have a chance. I waited for a minute and then... Larry! Larry, over here, Larry! Over here! I knew he'd heard me, and I saw him move out from the doorway.
Where? Can you hear me? Where are you?
Over this way! Here! And I moved back behind a hummock. I thought I might be able to make a wide circle and then double back to the cabin before he knew what was happening.
I can't hear you, Jack! Jack, are you hurt? Where are you?
Larry! Larry! And the wind burned my eyes so that I couldn't see. And I tripped and fell. And my hands, bare, didn't feel the coldness of snow any longer.
Jack! Jack, can you hear me? I'm over here!
He must have seen me. He was closer now. Close enough to shoot. And I tried to run. Stumbling, falling. And then it was easier. I was going downhill. But he was behind me.
Jack! Jack, come on!
And then there was something different in the feel of the ground under me. It wasn't ground anymore. Not snow. It was ice. I'd reached the shore, and I was going out into the frozen sea. I
began to imagine like I could feel the movement of the sea under me. And suddenly it didn't matter anymore. I didn't care. I couldn't run. I wanted to lie down. I wanted to lie down.
Jack, take it easy. It's all right. Jack, it's going to be all right. You don't have to be afraid. Look, you can have the gun you want. Jack!
When it happened, Cabell was no more than 8 feet away from me. I just lay there, watching, waiting for him to shoot. And the dark ribbon that split the ice grew wider and wider. A semicircle of ice had cracked away. It wasn't very big, and it was drifting out away. And the ribbon was no longer a ribbon. And in that moment, I knew that he hadn't wanted to kill me. I'd been wrong.
Jump! Larry, jump in and swim! Now, come on, you can make it. Come on, Larry. Come on. Try, you gotta try. Now, come on and hurry. Larry.
He moved away faster after that. And then I couldn't see him anymore. He was lost in the blackness. But I couldn't hear him. Oh, Lord, I couldn't hear him. Somehow I got back to the cabin. And I remember getting the transmitter switched on, sending a message through. I got the flashlight and my furs on. I don't know how long I was down there on the ice, shouting, looking. But I knew he was gone. I'd never see him again. And in the gray morning, the planes came. And for 2 days, they searched until the weather forced them back. And that was all. They flew me back to the hospital. Maybe I'll lose my hands. Maybe not. They're not sure yet. Doesn't matter anyway.
Suspense, in which Mr. William Conrad and Mr. Stacey Harris starred in tonight's presentation of A Study in Wax. Next week, the story of a man who found that murder was not the only way out of his problem. We call it The Beetle and Mr. Bottle. That's next week on Suspense. Is produced and directed by Anthony Ellis, who wrote tonight's script. The music was composed by Leith Stevens and Rene Garrigan and conducted by Wilbur Hatch.
Listen while you work. Perry Mason is here on the CBS Radio Network.
calculated to keep you in suspense.
It had all begun so harmlessly. That's the devil of it. You see, I'm a widower. My daughter Diana was happily married, and I'd been living alone for the last 8 years. It wasn't exactly an ideal existence, but I wasn't unhappy either. There was my job with Sixton and Shrewsbury. I was a senior bookkeeper now. And, of course, at home, there was my garden. I remember it was a Sunday, and Diana had unexpectedly come by for a little visit. How do you like this one, dear? Isn't she lovely? Going to be champion this year. We might even take best in the show. This hybrid tea and us.
I'm sure you will. Father, I came over because, well, George and I have been sort of discussing it lately about your retirement next year.
Oh?
We've been wondering if you've decided what you're going to do with yourself. Of course, you can always come and live with us, but...
Oh, no, my dear, that's awfully good of you, but I wouldn't think of it. Choose company, you know. Besides, it just wouldn't seem natural, not having my garden.
But you can't garden all the time, Father. And without your job to occupy you, well, you might find it getting a little bit lonely. What about a companion, Father, marrying again?
Marrying?
Yes, you probably know a dozen eligible women if you'd let yourself think about it.
Really, Diana? Who would want to marry me?
Anybody would and be happy to. Will you think about it, Father? No reason on earth why you should.
Well, I really don't know. If you want me to, I suppose it won't hurt to think about it.
That's all. Sort of preparation for retirement. Remember, choose company.
Diana was quite right. But marrying again... However, I promised Diana I'd at least think about it. I found myself still thinking as I walked down to my train the next morning.
Morning, Mr. Bottle.
Oh, Constable Wiggins.
You let me get you to the station down this street, Mr. Bottle. You're going the wrong way, sir.
Wrong way? Well, I still am.
First time I've seen you turn the wrong way in 15 years. Everything all right, sir? Nothing wrong with those lovely flowers of yours, are you?
Oh, no, it's nothing like that.
Oh, there comes your train now, sir. Better hurry along.
My train? Yes. Thank you, Constable. I rode into London still dutifully thinking and left the station walking my usual route to the office. Having done it every day for the last 25 years, the process was quite automatic. I was just crossing Shaftesbury Avenue when...
Are you all right?
I think so.
Let me help you out. There we are. You sure you're all right?
Yes. Thank you very much. I'm most terribly grateful, Miss...
Mrs. Magwitch. Ethel Magwitch.
Mrs. Magwitch, I rather think you saved my life.
Now, you sure you're all right? We shouldn't try our wings too soon. Shock, you know.
Well, my office is just around the corner, you see. Fixton and Shrewsbury.
Fixton and Shrewsbury? Why, of course, I should have guessed you'd be with a fine old firm like that. You're so distinguished looking, you must be the office manager.
No, nothing like that. I'm merely a senior bookkeeper.
Senior bookkeeper? Oh, I just knew it was something important. Your wife must be awfully proud.
Well, no. Well, that is, I'm a widower.
Now, isn't that a coincidence and myself a widow? Sort of fateful, like you might say.
Yes. Well, thank you again. If you'll explain...
You know you haven't told me your name.
It's Bottle. Eldon Bottle.
Eldon. Oh, such a nice name and so refined.
If there's ever anything I can do for you, Mrs. Magwitch...
Oh, why, that's perfectly sweet, Eldon. Why don't we just have lunch together?
Lunch? Well, really, Mrs. Magwitch...
I know the nicest little place. It's such a cozy little place. Now, you run along to work, Eldon. I'll be waiting outside Fixton and Shrewsbury at noon. Tell me all about yourself, Eldon. You've hardly said a word.
Well, I don't think there's much to tell.
Oh, now you're just being modest. But I can tell. There's a certain dash about you, Eldon.
You're just imagining.
What is the first thing I noticed? Of course, I simply don't want to try. You live here in the city?
No, in Watford.
Oh, in Watford? Oh, I do envy you living out there in the country away from the dirt and the grime. It's just a bit of heaven. I know it.
Yes, I find it quite pleasant.
Oh, it's such a lonely life living alone in the city. You've no idea, Eldon. Ever since Mr. Magwitch passed on, it's been lonely, lonely, lonely. In fact, I wouldn't tell this to just anyone, but there's been times when I thought I'd do away with myself.
Oh, I'm dreadfully sorry, Mrs. Magwitch.
Yes, but I'd hung on. Something inside kept saying, Hang on, Ethel Magwitch. You're going to meet someone with a certain dash one day. Someone who needs you. And you'll both be happy forever after. Eldon, do you believe in fate?
Fate?
There are forces in this world, Eldon. We're all little fates being woven into the mystic tapestry of life. Don't you see? Fate knotted us together, dear Eldon, with mystic hands. We couldn't escape now if we wanted.
No, Mrs. Magwitch, I don't think that... I mean, fate... Well, all that's happened is...
Exactly. I knew you'd see it. Oh, Eldon, I can't tell you how happy I am.
Please, Mrs. Magwitch,
Eldon, look at the time. Oh, it's just flown. Back to work now, dear. Tomorrow, dear Eldon, I'll be waiting right outside at noon.
I've never been sure which hit me that day, the car or Mrs. Magwitch. The next noon, she was waiting faithfully outside the office, and we went to lunch again. I knew perfectly well what she was aiming at, but she was like an express train bearing down on me, and I was powerless to get out of the way. The days that followed are quite hazy. I don't even recall proposing, but I must have some way or other, because suddenly we were married. Immediately afterward, I had an inkling how life with my new companion was going to be. Now that you've seen the house, what do you think, my dear?
No, that's what I think, Eldon. Not at all what you led me to believe.
Oh, I'm sorry. I've always thought it quite roomy. Margaret and I...
This furniture's hopeless, too. What's outside those doors?
Oh, they lead to the garden. Come along, I'll show you. I was saving the best for last. There you are, my dear.
Oh, Eldon.
Yes, I thought you'd be surprised. There's something about flowers. My happiest hours have been in this garden.
Biggest waste of property I ever saw. A waste of time and property, that's what it is. Knocking about in the dirt for a lot of colored weeds.
You don't like flowers? Not at all?
You might as well know it now, Eldon. There are going to be some changes around here. I have some plans.
Plans?
We're not going to argue about it. We'll discuss it at the proper time. Now, go in and wash your hands. It's lunchtime.
Marriage, that is, a successful marriage, is based on compromise. So I let Ethel have her chromium furniture. It was hideous. It was only the beginning, though. Our first 6 months were a whirlwind of changes. My clothes, musical taste, everything. The only link left to my former home life was the garden. I retreated there whenever I could. Then, one evening, I came home to another surprise.
Oh, darling. No, you don't mean it.
This is really funny.
Ethel?
Oh, so you're home. Oh, just look who's here, Eldon. Charlie.
So this is Eldon, eh? Hello, Dad.
Dad? You mean this is your son?
Well, of course he's my son. What's the matter with you? I told you about Charlie. Don't you remember?
Sorry, my dear, but I'm afraid I don't.
Eldon, I distinctly told you about Charlie. You tried to embarrass me.
Now, calm yourself, Mum. Nothing to get in a row about. I'm here. That's all that matters to Dad. Isn't it, Dad?
Well, yes, of course.
Of course. Now, how about joining us in a little drink, huh?
We're celebrating dear Charlie's release, Eldon.
Release? From the Navy. That's what Mum means. Thanks, Mum.
Navy? Oh, yes, of course that's what I mean.
How about a nip for you, Dad? Say one.
Oh, thank you. I don't drink.
Don't drink?
That's right, Charlie. Most ordinary little man you ever saw. Well, now we're going to talk about Charlie. We're going to help Charlie, Eldon.
Oh, we are?
In a business way, Dad. Now that I'm living with you, Mum thinks I ought to be doing something. A little business, all nice and legitimate. Mum told me about a plan. I think it's lovely.
Plan?
I told you I had plans, Eldon. First time I saw this place. I just never you mind, it's for Charlie.
That's right. No sense in troubling you till we get it all worked out. It's going to be a regular gold mine, Dad.
Gold mine?
Charlie and I will handle it, Eldon.
Yes, but I'd like to know something about it.
At the proper time, Eldon.
Yes, my dear.
Eldon, you're being trying again. Now you run along out to that garden of yours. You may not have it much longer.
That's right, Dad. You're going to see some big changes around here. So enjoy it while you may.
I was a firm believer in compromise. But it was dawning on me I was doing more than my share. I resolved that whatever their cryptic plan, it was not going to include my gardening. Since they refused to discuss it in my presence, I was forced to discover it in my own way. The opportunity came one evening a few days later as I was spraying my roses for insects. I loathed them, destructive little beasts. From the corner of my eye, I could see Ethel and her son by an open window in deep conversation. I moved toward the window carefully.
Well, Mom, I don't think it'll be best that way. Bar should be over there against that wall.
Well, I'm afraid that wall's a bit small for the bar, Charlie.
We don't need a big one, Mom, with all the tables and chairs we're planning on.
Well, don't forget now, we're extending this room out over the garden. No sense in cramping ourselves.
You're right, Mom. But any way you look at it, we're going to have the sweetest little tavern this side of Buckingham Palace. Couldn't have picked a nicer bit of property.
You know your mother, Charlie, always married with an art for business.
But when do we inform the little gardener? You know, we might throw a bit of a fuss.
Oh, all right, then around the little finger.
I couldn't believe my ears. There were only 2 words to describe my reaction. Something snapped. This monstrous express train of a woman that had crashed into my life was now aimed at my father. Anything I had a love for her left me confused. I was going to stop her, and I was capable of the most drastic moves. Later that evening, when we were alone, I gave her one last chance. Ethel, I have something to say to you.
What?
It's about your plan for the house.
I told you, Eldon, I'll discuss it with you at the proper time.
I already know about your plan for this nice bit of property, my dear.
Oh, you do? Just what have you got to say?
Don't try it, my dear.
You see, now that's exactly why I didn't want you to know. You're just not a businessman, Eldon. You're content to live in your backward little way, depriving those who love you. You're the kind that has to be shown, Eldon.
I'll give you one chance, sir.
Eldon, you're going to make me angry in a moment.
Either you agree to a divorce immediately or
divorce?
I advise you to agree.
You advise me to what?
Do you or don't you?
Let me tell you something, Eldon Bottle. I love you. Try and divorce me, and I'll break every bone in your body.
Then there is nothing more to say. By the way, my dear, I'll be spending tomorrow night in the city.
Why?
It's the annual audit of the books. I'll be working quite late, so I usually spend the night in a hotel. Otherwise, I'll hardly get home before I have to be at work again.
All right, Eldon, business is business. Charlie's off for the end of the week, too.
Oh, he is? You'll be all alone?
Oh, don't worry. I'll enjoy myself. Now, you run along to bed.
As I left the room, I turned to look at her, seeing her for exactly what she was. A monstrous female beetle perched on a chromium chair. It was only a matter of extermination. I awoke the next morning calm and resolute. I left the house carrying my small bag of overnight things. Lying on top was my pair of sharp-pointed garden shears. It was poetic in a way, but also just the sort of handy weapon an unknown housebreaker might grab up and use. As I neared the station, I made casually sure that Constable Wiggins noticed me.
Morning, Mr. Bottle.
Good morning, Constable. Lovely morning.
Looks like you're going to spend the night out, Mr. Bottle.
Oh, you mean my bag? Yes, it's my annual audit, you know. The one night I spend alone.
Oh, don't tell me it's that time again already. The time certainly flies.
Yes, doesn't it?
Well, have a good night, sir.
Thank you, Constable. I shall. The rest of my plan was simplicity itself. Proceeding to the office in my usual manner, I would immerse myself in the annual audit. At that time, I would check into a hotel. then return to the office and work until 9 p.m. Returning to the hotel, I would slip out the service entrance and go directly to the station. The train to Watford ran all night. With reasonable luck, I would be back in the hotel by 12. As I planned, I arrived in Watford at 10:05. There was a moon, but I cautiously kept to the side streets and made my way unseen. It was all working perfectly. I slipped into the garden and crept up to the garden door. Took the shears from my inside pocket.
Who's there? Charlie? Who's there? Charlie? Who's in here? Eldon! What on earth? I thought you were staying in London. What's the meaning of this?
You're not a human being, Ethel. You're an insect. And I'm going to destroy you.
You're going to what? Put down those cutters this instant, Eldon. What do you think you're playing at? Jack the Ripper?
They never caught Jack the Ripper. Did you know that, Ethel?
I'll give you just 5 seconds.
I'm sorry, my dear.
Oh, Eldon, stop it. Why, you little beast. You tried to kill me.
I'm going to, Ethel.
You little beast. Drop those kickers. Drop it. I'm going to break you in two.
She was like a demon. My sides were being crushed. I couldn't breathe. I lost the initiative. I had to retreat. I dashed for the garden door. She was coming out onto me.
You little beast! I know you're out here. If I don't get you the police, you better pay for the police.
She started for the other end of the garden. I waited until she got there, then ran to the street. The only safe place was London, and I went there. It was hardly a surprise when I arrived at work the next morning and saw the police outside the building. It was useless to run, but I preferred giving myself up to Constable Wiggins. I went to a phone and called him.
Oh, yes, Mr. Bottle, where are you? I've asked the London police to pick you up.
I've just seen them outside the office. It won't be necessary. I'm returning to Watford on the next train. Don't worry. I'll come right to the station.
In a moment, we continue with the concluding act of Suspense.
Higginbotham here. We will now commence our lesson in stereophonic reproduction. Listen to the call of the spotted bill-snicker on ordinary stereo. Now then, on a Columbia Stereo 1 phonograph. Obvious difference, what? The Columbia stereophonic system really causes all others to blush. For it is not composed of just a few separated speakers. Columbia is the originator and exclusive purveyor of stereo projection. Only Columbia fills every inch of a room with real, lifelike sound. Now, when I was bird-watching with the Duchess of... But let that pass. You simply must hear the Stereo 1 phonograph by Columbia. Ask your Columbia phonograph dealer for a demonstration. And, chaps, portables are priced as low as $39.95. Consoles commence at $129.95. Blast that bird.
Sit down, Mr. Bottle. This pains me, sir, knowing you as long as I have. I'd like to make it easy on you, but the circumstances make it impossible.
Oh, it's very kind, Constable, but I quite understand. Could we just get on with it?
Oh, yes, sir. Your wife's still quite nervous. You know Dr. Penrose, don't you, sir?
Hello, Mr. Bottle. Good morning, Doctor. You mean my wife's still here?
Oh, yes, sir. Now, there are two things, Mr. Bottle. Maybe you'd better explain the medical part, Doctor.
Well, Mr. Bottle, I'm sorry to tell you, but your wife has suffered a complete mental collapse. My wife? Yes, the medical name is paranoia. Specifically, she's suffering from a fixation that you were told last night and attacked her with a pair of garden clippers. I'm afraid it's quite severe.
Oh, no. You mean... You think?
I know it's a shock, but there just isn't any other way of saying it, Mr. Bottle.
Oh, she was just wild last night, Mr. Bottle. If I didn't know you was in London, I'd have half believed her. She's that sure of it. It's a good thing it happened here in Watford, where we all know you, sir. Says you came at her saying you were Jack the Ripper.
Oh, she did? Yes, she's quite convinced of the fantasy. They always are, you know. Now, I don't like mentioning commitment, but I think you'll understand when you see her.
See her? Do I have to?
I think you should.
This way, Mr. Bottle. We've had to keep her under restraint in one of the cells.
Oh, have you finally caught him, the little thief? You're going to get 50 years for this, Eldon, and my solicitor will sue this police department. Well, open this, let me go. What are you waiting for?
My dear, I'm so sorry. It just breaks my heart.
Why, you nasty little muckworm. He came at me. Kill them, Eldon. Kill them.
I think you'd better leave her now, Mr. Bottle.
He came at me. He's getting the Jack the Ripper. Get me out of here. I'll make him get there. I'll break him in two. He's Jack the Ripper.
Sit down here, sir. The wisest thing now would be commitment, Mr. Bottle. It would be dangerous if you weren't.
Yes, Doctor, I'm afraid you're right. And if you'll just sign these papers, sir, I'll call the sanitarium. It's fine.
How long will it be before she's released? I don't think I can predict until another examination.
Now, there is a second problem, Mr. Bottle, but I don't have to tell you now.
Quite all right. Please do.
Well, I've found a circular from the Liverpool police. It seems they want a certain Ethel Magwitch for bigamy. Bigamy? Oh, it seems she married two other chaps and did them out of their property. That's what the circular says, sir. I'm very sorry. I know it's an added shock to you, but... oh, Mr. Bottle, maybe you better go home, sir.
Yes, I think I will. My flowers need watering. Poor chap. Those are two terrible blows, Constable.
Yes, sir.
But it's a funny thing, Doctor.
I could have sworn I saw you smile.
Suspense.
You've been listening to The Beetle and Mr. Bottle by Richard Candley. Included in the cast were John Gibson as Mr. Bottle and Kathleen Cordell as Ethel, with Mason Adams, Patricia Baxter, Ian Martin, and Guy Rett. 2 weeks from today, Room 202, another tale well calculated to keep you in suspense on CBS Radio.
And now, tonight's presentation of radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense. Tonight, we bring you a story of a manhunt that ends in a church. We call it The Lady in the Red Hat. So now, starring Mr. Vic Perrin, here is tonight's suspense play, The Lady in the Red Hat.
Hello, Mitch. Come in, sit down.
Thanks. What's the trouble?
Orders to stop those articles you're writing.
Why?
Well, it's not so much the 13th apostle as the way you keep harping on those theories you've got about him.
Well, I think I'm right.
I know, so does the chief. But you've got every woman in the city scared to death. That's why he wants you to lay off.
Look, 5 women have been murdered by the 13th apostle in 3 months, and they were all wearing red in their clothes. I say that means something, and they want me to lay off.
This isn't me. We hired you to do the feature column in the Sunday supplement because you've got a big following. Psychology of murder. It's a great idea. Excuse me. Yeah.
Mr. Banning, is Mr. Mitchell in there?
Yeah?
Will you tell him his housekeeper's on the phone? She says it's urgent.
All right. Switch the call in here.
Yes, sir.
Use this phone, Mitch.
Oh, thanks. Hello? Oh, yes, Mrs. White. Oh? Will you repeat the message, please? Thank you. No, don't worry. It's all right. Yes, I won't be home until after midnight then. Yes. Goodbye.
Anything wrong?
I don't know. I'll find out, though. An anonymous note slipped under my door. Somebody wants me to meet the Avenger at midnight. Good evening.
Oh, hi, Mick. I thought you were going to wait downstairs.
I was, but Banning wanted to see me. Naylor called him. The police department wants me to stop my article.
Why?
Oh, I'll tell you while we're eating.
Did they say anything about my stuff?
No, yours is straight reporting. It's theorizing they object to. Maybe I'm getting too close.
Have you written anything on last night's murder? I'd like to read it.
I won't be writing it now. But if I did, I know what I'd say.
Have you got something new, Mitch?
Something new? Maybe. I don't know yet. Meet the Avenger at 12 o'clock. And the Avenger could be anyone. We waited for the elevator. I watched. Tired faces drifting into boxes, lowering them to the street. And then outside into darkness, growing cold with snow and night's wind. And she was there with me, a smile on her lips. We went to a place for dinner.
You know, Mitch, I love this place. My favorite hangout after work.
Well, that's why I brought you here. Though I was beginning to wonder why you've been so quiet. Subdued lights and warmth. Is that it?
In a way.
Oh? Something else, too.
Mitch, tell me now. What do you think about it?
It?
The Avenger.
Well, you've read my articles. That's what I think.
No, I don't mean what you write. I do that, too. I mean you. What do you think?
Well, I have to write about him. Must I talk about him, too?
Mm-hmm.
All right. I think he's fantastic. Consider the name he or she has chosen for himself. The 13th Apostle. Probably wants to purge the world because of its sins.
That's what you said in your article.
Well, that's what I think.
And all that stuff about the color red?
It means something. Perhaps a sinful color. The obsession of red as a symbol. There's a tie-up.
Listen, I want to tell you something. Something big.
A story?
Can I have another drink?
Oh, I'm sorry. Mario?
Coming, sir.
I got an anonymous note this morning.
A note? Well, that's odd.
What do you mean?
Because...
Yes, Mr. Mitchell.
Oh, the same?
Yes, please.
Nothing, thanks.
Yes.
By the way, when a Lieutenant Dowell comes in, will you show him to this table, please?
Of course, yes.
Bill Dowell? He's on the Avenger case. Are you holding out on me, Mitch?
You were speaking of a note, anonymous. Did it say anything about the Avenger?
Yes, it did. If I wanted important information about the Avenger, I was to go at midnight to the community chapel on 7th.
Have you got the note with you?
No, I left it at home.
Oh? Did it tell you to sit in the first pew and wait?
You got one, too?
This afternoon, under my door at home. The housekeeper
The
called.
same thing.
It's queer, isn't it?
I wondered.
What?
This isn't an ordinary tip, don't you see? I've been working on the story for the Standard. You've been doing your series. Supposing...
The 13th Apostle sent the notes?
Well?
Bill Dowell called me earlier. He wanted to see me.
Oh?
I said I was taking you out for dinner. I told him to meet us here.
Why?
The lieutenant claims he received a note like ours, too. Could she be the one? Or Dowell? Millions of people in a city, and the person next to you a killer? You just couldn't believe it was someone you knew. Was that then the ultimate stimulation? To kill a stranger was not enough. Now seek out the danger, the extreme risk. Because there was emotion here. Emotion of friendship. That was different. And who might it be? The girl on the newspaper? Or the policeman?
Are you being stubborn because you're a policeman or because you're just pig-headed, Lieutenant?
Jeannie, you're a reporter. Too much imagination. I still think it's a crackpot gag.
Then why did you come?
Well, because Mitch and I have been working together on this. Because we're all friends. I'm not taking any chances. There have been 5 murders already.
She makes sense, though, Bill. 3 of us, Paul's vitally interested in the case. It'd be very flattering to him if we turned up at the chapel at midnight.
I'll be there, I can tell you that.
Well, I don't like it. He might be after one of us. Maybe you, Jeannie. Maybe he doesn't like some of the stuff you've been writing about him.
Maybe me.
Maybe. Or me. I'm the cop who's chasing him.
Yes, I don't imagine he's particularly fond of you, Bill.
Well, why not surround the chapel?
No, mind you, I still think it's a crank note, but if it isn't, this baby's too smart. If he sees anything wrong, he'll get away.
Well, you've used police cordons before to get a killer. There must be enough buildings around to hide
I'm still
him.
not taking any chances.
I think Billy wants all the credit for a dramatic
I have to share it with Mitch anyway.
And me.
You're going home.
Oh, that's what you think. I'm on that list. I want to be there when something happens.
Do you know where the chapel is, Bill?
Yeah, it's the one on 7th, just around the corner there.
It's funny. I must have passed it 100 times. I never noticed it.
Most people think it's vacant. It's not. In fact, it's open all night.
How do you know, Ginny?
I don't know. I guess I heard about it. You know, I always used to like the snow. I look forward to it. I don't like it tonight.
I never liked it. Something smothering about the stuff. I was in a blizzard once.
What happened?
I was lost in the woods up north. I nearly froze to death. The snow kept coming down, got in my mouth and my nose and eyes, and after a while, things didn't look white anymore. They were blurred and red.
Well, what frightened you more, fear of being lost or fear of dying?
I don't know. Why?
Just wondered.
Anybody got the time?
No, it's 11 o'clock.
Let's go in.
Funny.
What is?
If one of us were killed here.
I'm going to have a look around. Check any side doors.
All right.
You stay here.
Yeah.
The music's nice. There's the organist up there, you see him?
Have you ever noticed how, even in an empty place like this, one speaks softly?
Yes.
I wonder why it's always so quiet.
I wonder. Why are you looking at me like that?
Was I?
Yes. Why?
Perhaps I was thinking how strange it would be if one of us were the 13th apostle.
You are listening to The Lady in the Red Hat, tonight's presentation in radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense.
Every Saturday night over most of these same stations, CBS Radio picks up the threads of a startling story of people who call the police, and often of people who call on police and the other way around, working out of 21st Precinct. There's fast-moving drama and an intimate glimpse into the human side of police work. Saturday nights on CBS Radio, when you're invited to hear The 21st Precinct.
And now we bring back to our Hollywood soundstage Mr. Vic Perrin, starring in tonight's production, The Lady in the Red Hat, a tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
Avenger? Oh, Mitch.
Well, it has to be someone.
I believe you're serious.
I am. We've all been on the case since the first death. Perhaps one of us enjoys the publicity, the thrill of killing.
Are you trying to frighten me?
No.
I don't like this place.
Better go home, then. What, jitters, Jeannie?
What did you find, Bill?
One side exit, that's all. We can see it in front view.
What's the time?
About 11:15.
Oh, I'm cold. wonder if we could get some coffee.
There's a place in the corner. I'll get it. You two stay here. How do you like yours?
Just black.
Same. Right. I'll be back in 5 minutes. Take it easy, Jeannie. It's not 12 yet.
You want to sit down?
Up in the front? No, not yet.
All right, here then.
Mitch, you weren't serious, were you?
Yes. Well, you've read my articles. I've theorized about the apostle. The analysis could fit any one of us.
Me?
Well, why not? You're fairly strong. You could have done it. You like excitement, danger. You've often said you don't get along with women. You never have.
That doesn't mean
it could be you.
Or you. Or Bill.
Yes, Dowell. I thought about him. It wouldn't be difficult for him to kill and get away with it. Easier than most people because he's a policeman.
And you?
Perhaps I'm in love. In love with a girl I can never have. And because of that, I hate all women.
It's funny. I never thought of you in love.
Why that?
Because you're so alone. I don't know.
We sat alone with the music. It was everywhere in the chapel, solemn, accusing. The thoughts had been spoken. Fear was creating suspicion. And the girl with a red scarf tied about her head, sitting with folded hands beside me, looked in front of her, and her eyes were on the front pew.
Sorry I was so long. It seems that half the cab drivers in there were getting coffee. Did anything happen?
No.
Jeannie?
Oh, thanks. No, it seems wrong. Drinking coffee in the chapel.
Sinful, Jeannie?
Oh, stop it. It's not what I meant.
Yeah, Richard. Thanks.
What's the time, Bill?
11:30.
That all?
I see our friend at the organ is still there.
Yeah, it's a funny hour to practice.
Mitch. I heard what you said to Jeannie before. I mean about one of us being the Avenger. Are you kidding?
No.
That's crazy.
Well, why? It's got to be somebody. Why not one of us?
Well, he's got brilliant reasons. Ask him. We all
It's not a joke anymore, Mitch.
I know. The trouble with you, Bill, is you think you have to look for some poor devil frothing at the mouth, hands covered with blood. Must a murderer always look like a comic book conception of a murder?
Cut it out, you're not funny.
I'm not trying to be. I think it more than probable that one of us could be the 13th apostle. We're normal, moderately attractive people, but one of us thinks differently. Which one? We drank our coffee. There was an animal awareness now, each of us watching the other, cautious, wondering. We spoke of Christmas, of sailing, of next year's Dodgers. We spoke of everything but the 13th apostle and of 12 o'clock.
Look, there's been a lot of crazy talk tonight. Mitch, you started it. Now let's get things out.
All right, Bill.
I still think those notes we got were from a crackpot. But it's my job to investigate. I've gone along with the gag, Mitch, but this is serious. This talk about Jeannie or me or you.
If you think it's a gag, why bother about it?
What's the matter with you, Mitch? Why don't you stop?
I'm sorry. Let's forget it. We'll leave Bill to sit it out, and I'll take you home.
I wish you would.
No, I'm staying.
Hey. What? I hadn't figured on that.
Oh.
The lights. There's only one up there now. The organist must have turned the others out. Be hard to see anyone coming in from the front pew.
Well?
I'm going to take a look. I'll see you. I'll find a janitor.
No. You're not afraid to be alone with me, are you?
Don't be an idiot.
If anyone comes in, stay in the shadows.
It's nearly 12.
You might as well get in your places. I'll be right back.
I guess we'd better.
The front pew?
Yeah, those were the instructions.
It's quiet without the music.
It's too quiet. It was nice.
And so many shadows.
Shadows in the chapel? They shouldn't be frightening.
Will Bill be able to see us when he comes back?
I think so.
Do you think it's him?
Do you?
What's the time?
About 3 minutes to.
I hope he finds the lights.
I don't mind it. Strange.
What?
When I was very young, I was in a place like this, very much like this. Oh? I was taken every week. And every week there was a woman who sat across the aisle. She was beautiful. I was in love with her. Nobody ever talked to her. My mother hated her, but not my father. Do you know what I found out?
No.
It was after my father left us. He'd been in love with that woman all that time. They ran away together.
How terrible.
Yes, I thought so at the time. What tiny things one remembers. She always wore a red hat. She was beautiful, but she must have been very wicked.
Red hat?
Where I lived, they used to say it was the shock of his leaving that killed my mother. Poor Jeannie, I'm frightening you. Give me your hand, Jeannie.
No.
You're cold.
Don't. Please don't.
You're like her. You know, you look like her. You even wear red because it's your favorite color.
Mitch.
I'm in love with you, and it's so wrong. I've been in love with you ever since I met you, but it's wrong. You're bad. You're like her. Don't scream. Don't.
Mitch, it's all right. I understand.
I'm sorry the music stopped. We've got to have music. There was always the organ playing at home. Come along, Jeannie.
Where are we going?
We're going upstairs to the organ loft. No, don't scream, please.
Mitch, Jeannie, you up front?
Don't you say anything.
I won't. Mitch, you're not well. I'm glad you told me.
Mitch?
I love you, too.
Jeannie?
You must believe me. I love you, Mitch. Please.
She was clever, trying to win me over with talk of love. I wasn't going to take any chances with her. We went up the narrow stairs to where the organ was. I closed the door behind us. I didn't need my knife anymore. I could smash her with my hands. I could pound the evil flat, stamp it out on the floor. The other 5 were bad. They'd sinned, but she was like the woman at home, the woman in the red hat. And I knew what had to be done with her. I'd known it from the day I'd met her. Tall, with long legs, fresh face masking wickedness, and that...
Mitch, Jeannie, where are you?
Please.
Stay down there, Bill. Don't come up. I've got her. You stay there. I found her out. I've known all the time. She's got to die. You know that, Bill.
I'm coming up, Mitch. It's okay. We'll take her in together.
That's why I sent those notes, Bill. I had to trap her. You understand?
Sure.
I'm right. I'm right, aren't I?
Dead right, Mitch. Open the door. We'll take her in together.
But no, you stay there, Bill. I don't need your help. I can do it. How do you turn this thing on? Now, there must be a switch. Don't you go near that door, Jeannie.
Mitch, open the door, Mitch.
Here's one.
Mitch.
In a minute. Don't worry. She won't hurt me. Not anymore.
Mitch, please. Whatever I've done to you, I'm sorry.
You're the woman. You're always the woman in red. Now play. There was music at home at my mother's funeral. Now you play.
I can't.
Play it.
I don't know how.
Play. You play louder. 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 Not louder. Drop what I see. Bill? Bill? Turn it off. Turn it off. The music. Stop it. Stop it. It's killing me. It's killing me.
Suspense, in which Mr. Vic Perrin starred in tonight's presentation of The Lady in the Red Hat. Next week, the story of a killer and the family which he held in a night of fear. We call it Strange for a Killer. That's next week on Suspense. Suspense is produced and directed by Anthony Ellis. Tonight's script was written by Clock Daly. The music was composed by René Garrigan and conducted by Wilbur Hatch. Featured in the cast were Virginia Gregg, Larry Thor, Barney Phillips, Jack Carroll, and Jenny Stevens.
In this second half of the 20th century, war could happen in a hurry. To help guard America, enlist in the Ground Observer Corps. Sign up for the Silver Wings that mean you're doing your share to man our vital aircraft spotter observation posts. Write or telephone your nearest Civil Defense Center and volunteer. Stay tuned now for Douglas Edwards with the news, followed by Disc Derby over the CBS Radio Network.
And now, tonight's presentation of radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense. Tonight, we bring you a story of a killer and the family which he held in a night of fear. We call it Strange for a Killer. So now, starring Mr. John Daner, here is tonight's suspense play, Strange for a Killer.
How's this, Henry?
Oh, swell. Anywhere along here. Thanks, Buck. Are you sure you don't want to stop in for a minute? You haven't seen the kid yet, have you?
Gee, I'd like to, but I have to get home early myself tonight. The wife's got some kind of meeting, and I'll have to take care of my own.
Okay. See you tomorrow.
Yeah. Night, Hank.
Night.
All right. Hold it right there.
Oh. I didn't see you, officer. What's wrong?
You'll have to wait a while. You can't go down that street.
But that's where I live. My wife's waiting for me.
You'll be a little late.
Well, now, wait a minute.
Look, will you keep your voice down and stay back? You'll get hurt if you don't.
Oh, you after someone?
Roy Jaleska.
Jaleska?
That's right.
And he's been living in this neighborhood? Where?
Right across the street, down 3 doors. There's a cop every 10 feet from here to the river. You better go back in that drugstore and wait. Call your wife if you want.
Yeah, I think I'd better. Where'd you say he was?
Cross and down 3 doors.
Yeah. We're in the apartment house right next to her. You don't think there'll be any shooting?
Just tell her to stay inside and keep her door locked. She'll be all right.
Oh. Thanks.
Henry!
Hi, Charlie.
Hey, that Jaleska guy they're after, you know. Been living in the boarding house right next to you.
Yeah, I know. How long has it been going on?
They've been here almost half hour now.
Half hour? What are they waiting for?
Don't ask me. I got here about 5:30 when the police were just coming in. It only took about 5 minutes to cover the whole block. And a party of 6 or 7 of them went in after them.
And they haven't come out?
No, I've been watching.
Why, I wonder? You haven't heard any shooting?
No.
We ought to hear something by now.
Yeah. Does seem funny, doesn't it? Unless he got out of his room. He couldn't get far.
Oh. Well, I want to get Jessie on the phone. She'll be wondering why I'm late.
Sure.
Funny.
Hello?
What's the matter, honey? I thought you weren't going to answer.
I was looking after Johnny.
Are you okay?
Just getting hungry.
Well, go ahead with this supper. I'm going to be late. Jess, I don't want to scare you, but there's going to be a little trouble next door. Now, I don't want you to leave our apartment.
Yes.
The police are after someone who's been hiding out in the boarding house next to us. Now, the whole block is surrounded, and I won't be able to get home till it's over, and you're not to come out.
Yes.
Now, there's nothing to be afraid of, Jessie.
All right.
Just stay inside. Keep the door locked.
There's no need for that now. Goodbye, dear.
What? Jessie? Hello? Hello? Hey, Charlie.
Yeah?
How high is that boarding house? Is it 3 stories?
Yeah, that's right. Just like your place.
And that alley between them, how wide is it?
It's pretty narrow, I guess. But there's a cop on both ends.
And the roof. Charlie, could anyone make the jump across? Is it too wide for that?
I don't know. Why?
She didn't sound right, Charlie.
Yeah?
Like there was someone with her, Charlie. I tell you, I spoke to her on the phone about 10 minutes ago, and I'm sure there's something wrong up there, Captain.
What makes you sure?
Well, she was afraid of something. I know she was. Something right there in the room with her.
Where do you live? In the boarding house?
No, the apartment house next door on the 3rd floor.
Reader? Yes, sir. Farrell's got some men going into the apartment house next to Gillespie. Stop him.
Yeah. He's in there with her, isn't he? He's in with my wife.
I don't know, fella. He could be anywhere now.
You didn't find him in his room?
No, he's not in the boarding house.
I knew it. He's with Jessie and my son.
Take it easy, Hayden.
We got across the roof, didn't he? Our apartment is on the top floor. He could get in easy enough.
Maybe.
Look, let me go up there, Captain. Please, let me go up there. No, I want to be with my wife and kid.
I'm sorry, Hayden. If it's true he'll use them as hostages to make us hold our fire, it's better that there are only 2.
What difference does it make?
Look, we're not even sure he's there. You haven't given us any real proof.
It's the only way you can make sure. Look, if everything's all right, if he isn't there, I'll call the drugstore and have them tell you so. If he is, I'll let you know somehow. We can think of some kind of signal. You can't stop me anyway. It's my home. My wife that's in danger. I have a right to be there.
I could stop you, mister. I should stop you.
But you won't. I can go?
All right. Listen to me.
Yeah?
You may be wrong about this, but...
What do you want me to do?
Go straight to your wife. Don't do any investigating on the way. No looking down the alley or around corners. Get in your apartment. Lock the door behind you. He's trapped, Hayden, and he's scared now, and he'll kill you if he thinks you're onto him.
I know it.
If he's not in your place when you get there, call headquarters and ask for Grimes. I'll have him standing by. He'll flash the message to my car.
Yeah.
If he is there, well, there's nothing I can tell you. You'll be on your own. But don't try to signal. Now, if I don't get your call 10 minutes after you go in, we'll know.
Yes, sir.
I can say this, Hayden. If he's there, don't try anything brave. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's about all. Just be careful. We want this man, Hayden. We want him badly. But we don't want anyone hurt getting him. You understand?
I do. Thanks.
Okay, Captain. Farrell's holding up his men, but he wants to know the score.
Get over to my car, Reader. Have his men surround the apartment house, block every exit, put someone on the fire escape and on the first floor, but no noise. Do it quietly. Okay, Hayden. You can get going.
Yep.
If he's not there, get the call in right away.
Sure. Jesse? Jesse? It's me. Jess! Oh, honey. Honey, is everything okay? Is it?
Come in, Henry.
You sounded funny over the phone. I thought there was something wrong. It's okay, isn't it? Why don't you answer me, Jess?
Henry.
Where? Where?
Get your hands over your head. Get up against the wall. Don't make any noise or I'll kill you.
You are listening to Strange for a Killer, tonight's presentation in radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense.
The money you meant to save but never actually did will never see you through an emergency. Start immediately to put regular sums aside through your bank's bond-a-month plan or through weekly payroll savings deductions. United States savings bonds are safe to invest in because they're as sure as Uncle Sam. And when you need them, you've got them.
And now we bring back to our Hollywood soundstage Mr. John Daner, starring in tonight's production, Strange for a Killer. A tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
I know what you're thinking, but don't you try it, mister. This is a 45.
I'm not afraid of your gun.
That's because you've never been hit. You're bigger than me, and I know what you're thinking, but don't you try it, I'm warning you. You won't ever know what it means to wish you could die till you get a slug in the stomach.
Henry.
That's all right. I know he means it.
I mean it.
It won't do any good, you know. No matter what happens to us, no matter how long you stay here, they'll get you.
Listen, they guys, just like me, those blue suits don't make them Supermen. They make mistakes like everyone else. They've already made a big one.
How?
They shouldn't have sent you.
My wife didn't sound right when I spoke to her over the phone. I came up to find out why.
Yeah. She gave it away. She's sorry about that.
Jesse.
It's all right, Henry, please. It's all right.
Did he hurt you, Jess?
Never mind that.
She just got out of the hospital.
Would you like to see her go back?
I hope they kill you.
They might. I thought about it. I guess maybe you better start thinking about it, too, because it's going to happen the next time you make a crack like that.
Henry, don't.
I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. And you're going to give me the right answers. The right answers, mister. The first time you get hurt bad.
What do you want to know?
Where were you when you made that phone call?
Drugstore. Across the street.
And your wife don't sound right. You think maybe something is wrong.
Yes.
You want to get up here, you want to find out why.
Yes.
What takes you so long?
What?
We don't hear you coming up the stairs till almost 15 minutes after she hangs up. What are you doing all that time, huh?
Oh, no. At first, I wasn't sure she did sound like there was something wrong. It was only after I hung up and got to thinking about it that I started to worry, and then I made up my mind to come up. But that was later.
You don't stop to talk it over with the cops?
Why should I? How could I know it was you in here?
Cops all over the block looking for me, searching every building. Streets probably closed off, and your wife sounds scared over the phone, but you won't say why. Sounds like someone's with her. She don't say who. But you don't think it might be me?
Well, yes. Maybe I began to.
Yeah, but you don't say nothing to the cops, though.
No.
Just come up all by yourself.
Yes.
You sure of that?
Yes, I'd...
No, please. Please don't. Leave him alone. Oh, Henry. Henry.
It's all right. I'm all right, Jesse. All right. What's the big plan with you and the cops?
I don't know. I don't know about their plan. I don't know what they're going to do. But they know you're in here.
Don't stop, mister.
I did go to the police when I thought it was you here with my wife. I don't think they believed me at first. I talked the captain into letting me come anyway. If you weren't here, I was supposed to call him right away.
If I was?
Nothing. Just wait, and if they didn't hear in 10 minutes, it meant I couldn't call. You were in this room.
The old lady. Go get the kid.
No.
Why do you want him? We'll do anything you say. You don't need to touch our kid. You look okay. You don't want to hurt the kid.
Get him, lady.
Henry.
It's all right. I'm sure of it. You haven't got much time, Jaleska. You know it. Killing our baby is something you wouldn't do. You can bring him in, Jesse.
If you say so.
You're so sure this is the end of the line for me. And those cops down there, they're so sure. Well, I'm telling you, I got lots of time, and you're going to help me take it.
Yeah?
Yeah. I'll back up to the wall and peel off that jacket.
What?
Come on. Take off the jacket, throw it on the floor.
Sure. Why not? What are you going to do?
I'm not going to do anything. You're going to take it for a while.
What do you mean?
You don't see it, huh? I'm kind of surprised.
Well, I don't see any way out for you. That's what you mean. They know you're here.
Yeah, they know I'm here. You made sure of that, didn't you? So they're covering every way out. Doors, windows, alleys. What do you suppose would happen if I tried one of them?
I think they'd kill you.
Yeah. I start out that window, and every cop down there comes to make sure I don't finish the trip. Maybe a couple come running up here. That leaves lots of cops down on the bottom of the fire escape and a couple of cops up here in the room. But not many anywhere else, huh? In the alley or in the streets or down near the river. They'll all be watching the guy in the fire escape, won't they? And the guy in the fire escape, he don't need to be me, does he?
No, it won't work. You're crazy to think that'll work.
I gotta take that chance now. You're going out on that window, mister. And you're going to take your time doing it.
They've seen me. They know what I look like.
They saw a guy in a leather jacket right close up. Now you're a guy in a white shirt 3 stories over the street coming down a fire escape. That makes you a different guy. That makes you Roy Jaleska. Little guy. Bring him in.
He's asleep. You won't... He's asleep.
What's his name?
Johnny.
Johnny. It's a nice original name. It's a cute little kid, too. I don't guess you're going to put up any arguments, huh, mister?
No. No arguments.
Yeah. I'll be right here with the wife and the kid until I see our little scheme is working, so don't you try no tricks on the way down.
No.
What does he mean? Henry, what's going to happen?
You can read about it in the papers, lady. Now go turn out the light.
The light?
Turn it off. Don't you try nothing, neither one of you. You got your kid in here now, and there's no telling who'd get hit if I had to shoot wild.
Turn it out, Jesse.
Henry,
Come on. Now you, the window. Okay, they're all waiting. Get going.
You can't let him go out there.
Jesse, it's all right. Hold on to Johnny. Wait for me. It'll be all right.
Henry.
I stepped out onto the iron platform. Below on the street, I could feel every eye on me.
Hold up, Gillespie! We see you! Don't take another step!
And then I knew there was a part of the plan he hadn't told me. I jumped back against the wall, but it was already too late. From the window behind me, Gillespie fired down into the police. Their guns flew up automatically, and every one was aimed at me.
Pain. Everywhere. There were waves of pain. Voices I knew.
Don't touch him. Let him alone.
He's losing blood. I've got to get a doctor.
You'll get a doctor, lady.
Well, why don't you go? What are you waiting for? Haven't you done enough? He's been shot. He's hurt. And you just stand there. I thought you wanted to get out. Well, get out. Get out.
Jesse.
Henry, it'll be all right. Don't try to move, darling. You'll be all right.
You gone?
Please.
No, mister. No, I ain't gone. A little scheme. Don't look like it's going to work. It should have. No reason it shouldn't. But they're moving up on the stairs right now.
Oh, don't move, Henry. We'll get a doctor. It'll all be over in a minute.
Yeah, you're glad, huh?
No. No, I'm not glad. It's ugly, all of this. I feel sorry for you.
Don't, lady. I've been running for a long time. I think it's going to feel good to stop. It's a funny thing when they're after you, when you're running away. You look the same, you act the same as you always did, but it's different on the inside. You're tight, twisted. No matter what you're doing, you can't relax. You can't get a good deep breath. Yeah, I think I'm glad.
Gillespie! Roy Gillespie!
Those guys gonna do a lot of bragging tomorrow.
We know you're in there. Come out with your hands up, or we're coming in after you.
So they finally get me.
You killed a man.
Yeah. Yeah. One day you're just a guy, and something happens, and you're a killer.
Won't you go now, please?
Sure,
please.
sure, I'll go. Why not? Don't make much difference now. Buddy, listen to me. You know what I mean, don't you? You're just a guy.
Yeah. Put your gun down. Maybe they'll give you a chance.
What chance? I've been waiting for a chance all my life.
Give her the gun. It'll be better.
Look, forget it. Will you get out of the way, lady? I'm going out.
You wouldn't try. Oh, why don't you let me have your gun?
Get back, kid. Way back.
Jesse?
It's all right, Henry. It's all right.
That's it. Stay there. You'll stay. Just like that.
Oh, Henry.
Okay, son. Hold it right there. Don't come any farther. There are 6 guns on you, Gillespie. You haven't got a chance. Now drop that thing and come down with your hands over your head.
Jesse.
Yes.
Why didn't it work? They shot at me. And then there was at least a half minute when he could have got out that door. Why didn't he? What made him wait?
Oh, don't talk, darling. It's all over now.
No. What happened? Tell me.
When the police fired, he started for the door. But he came back, Henry. He went out into the fire escape and lifted you in the room. Then he started for the door again, but it was too late.
Is he all right?
I don't know. I think so. Will you get a doctor, please?
One's on his way. All right, take it easy, mister. You're going to be okay. Just lie easy.
Yeah. Sure. It's funny.
Huh?
No. It's not funny. Strange. Strange. For a killer.
Suspense, in which Mr. John Daner starred in tonight's presentation of Strange for a Killer. Next week, tune in again for radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense. Suspense is produced and directed by Anthony Ellis. Tonight's script was written by Robert Essen. The music was composed by René Guéraguin and conducted by Wilbur Hatch. Featured in the cast were Tony Barrett, Eve McVeigh, Jack Crucian, Leonard Weinrib, Charles Seal, and Tom McKee.
Tomorrow night on CBS Radio, hear The Scientific Touch on the FBI in Peace and War. A new wrinkle in criminology and an exciting wrinkle in countermeasures. Remember, on most of these stations, every Wednesday night, the FBI in Peace and War. Stay tuned now for Douglas Edwards with the news, followed by Disc Derby. Thursday night, The Whistler brings mystery on the CBS Radio Network.
And now, tonight's presentation of radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense. Tonight, we bring you a story of one of the most notorious murderers in the annals of crime. It is based upon police and court records. We call it A Story of Poison. So now, starring Mr. Joseph Kearns, here is tonight's suspense play, A Story of Poison.
Dr. Cream, there was nothing I could do. I'm sorry, terribly sorry. I tried everything.
You tried everything? Sorry?
I did what I could. It was too late. Don't go now.
Oh, but I must. Oh, yes, I must see her.
I'm sorry.
Oh, Emily. Emily, baby girl. Emily. Emily. Why, Doctor, she's dead.
Come away. I'll attend to things.
You don't understand. She's dead. I wasn't with her. I didn't know. Oh, Emily, my love, my girl.
Dr. Cream, please.
Oh,
Get
no,
up.
no, she can't be. My life, my all. Emily. That was Emily. She left me with an income of £400 a year. It's rather extraordinary how long it took her to die. To look at the girl, you'd never have thought it. She was thin, sickly, but in possession of what must have been the constitution of an ox. I'd been poisoning her steadily for 6 months, and certainly expected her to die within 3. Oh, it was a case history for the medical journal. And so I wrote them a paper about it. Anonymously, of course.
Inspector Waring.
Sergeant Daner, we got a letter here from the editor of the medical journal.
Why did they forward it to the yard?
There's a manuscript that came with the letter. Just a moment, sir. Resistance to physiological action of alkaloid poisoning. Case is 3ED by Anonymous.
Oh, what's the matter with that?
The medical journal people seem to feel that the man who wrote it did the job, too.
I'll put it on my desk. I'll be there in half an hour.
Right.
3 weeks after Emily died, I made arrangements to move to London. There was no trouble, but then I hadn't thought there would be. The good doctor had made out a certificate based upon the history, which I supplied. I had decided upon a refined intestinal disorder which bore a magnificent Latin name and closely paralleled the symptoms brought about by the poison administered. So much for the late and unlamented Emily.
Oh, I'm sure as how you found this room most suitable, sir.
Dr. Cream, Dr. Neil Cream, ma'am.
Oh, how nice. I've another board who's a doctor. Well, very nearly. A medical student, don't you know? Mr. Bridgman, ever such a nice gentleman.
Really?
You find a very refined atmosphere in my house, Doctor, and scrupulously clean, very scrupulous.
I'm sure of it, Mrs. Min. I think this will do quite nicely.
May I ask, Doctor, how long you plan to allow us the pleasure of your company?
Oh, I'm afraid I have no idea, Mrs. Min. You see, I've only just arrived from Hull. My wife died there a month ago.
Oh, how sad. How terribly sad.
I thought that here in London I might forget. Oh, you look understanding. You do understand, don't you?
Oh, poor dear man, of course. Oh, my, how I understand. I'm a widow myself. Only my daughter Daisy and me. Oh, I do feel for you.
You're so kind.
Not at all, I'm sure. You will join us for tea, won't you?
Oh, I should be delighted. Thank you so much. I'd found a boarding house in Bloomsbury off Tottenham Court Road. The proprietress, Mrs. Minns, was a tall, bony sort of woman, a type that I particularly despise. Not at all nourishing to a man of my disposition. Now, the daughter she'd mentioned I hoped would be a better prospect, but I knew that I would have to be careful there. After unpacking, I went down to tea. I say, I'm awfully sorry. I didn't mean to...
that's quite all right, I'm sure. You must be the new boarder, Dr. Cream.
Yes, I was just coming in for tea.
Oh, they're waiting for you.
Oh, really?
Oh, excuse me, I've got to put the kettle on. Nice day off you now.
Oh, may I help?
Oh, that's very nice of you, I'm sure. All right, come on.
Daisy Minns was not a beauty by any means, but there was a spark, an honesty, good humor that I found most enjoyable. Oh, we got on famously, but it was too soon to think about Daisy. Perhaps later. It was the evening of the fourth day after my arrival in London that I met Mildred Vickers. It was at a pub in Hammersmith. Oh, she was a sweet little thing. Large brown eyes, rosy cheeks. Oh, perhaps encouraged by a touch of rouge, but altogether delightful. I must say that I flattered her with attentions not usually received. Flowers, dinner, the theater. She was very grateful. Grateful until one night, 2 weeks later. Oh, holy. I'm tired. You?
Yes. Goodbye. Thanks very much.
Goodbye.
I wanted to tell you earlier tonight. I can't see you anymore.
You can't? Oh, no, you're joking.
I'm not. You've been a duck. We've had a lovely time, but it's finished. My young man's coming home tomorrow. He phoned me this morning from Southampton. His boat's come in.
Your young man? Your young man?
Like the old house.
Oh, Millie, you'll be the death of me. Come on, let's go inside.
You can't.
Come on.
I'm serious. So what you said. Laughs and all sorts of fun. It's over. Be a good
Come on,
boy.
get inside.
Stop it. Don't you go pushing me.
Oh, Millie, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to lose my temper, but the way you told me, it's such a shocker. I thought you were joking.
Sorry. Maybe I am.
Oh, no, I'm very, very fond of you, Millie. I'm very fond. A chap gets fond, and then... Oh, well. One last kiss, Millie, huh? One last kiss.
Of course. I knew you'd be a sport about it.
Oh, Millie, I can't let you go. I can't.
You
crikey.
Millie, let's talk it over.
There's nothing to talk.
You'll sit quietly and talk. I promise I'll make no trouble with you. I just want you to understand.
I'm tired.
Oh, please, is it too much to ask? One drink, and you listen to me, and then if you want me to go, I'll go. I'll go quietly, no bother, all serene.
I'm sorry. It all sounds ever so sad. But my young man's coming in.
Oh, will you stop
enough.
talking about your young man? Oh, Millie, no, I didn't mean that. I'm not angry. Oh, now, please, look here. Now, there's so much I can give you. Oh, I'm not young anymore, but you find me attractive, don't you? Don't you? Now, what are you smiling about? Why are you laughing? Millie! Millie!
Oh, stop your shouting and think about the police on me.
No. You want me to go?
That's right.
Well, I'll be as good as my word then, Millie. No hard feelings.
Of course not, silly.
Farewell drink.
That's for me, thanks.
Oh, just a splash. Yeah, we'll drink to your young man.
Wouldn't he just laugh at seeing you?
Yes, wouldn't he just?
You ought to find yourself a nice widow. Someone like you. And settle down. I mean...
Yes, I know what you mean, Millie. Here we are.
Oh, thanks.
Ah.
Do. Now, up it like a good boy.
Millie, I suppose I really should tell you that I don't care about you at all. That nonsense I was saying before, I didn't mean it, you know. I don't quite understand why I said anything. You're not worth it, you nasty... Oh, yes, it burns, doesn't it? But it doesn't hurt long, though. You annoyed me terribly, chucking me over. Not that I care because of you, but me.
Oh, thank you.
It won't be long. I just want you to know. Can you hear me? I just want you to know that every time we've gone to a public place together, I was ashamed. Ashamed to be seen with something like you. Good night! For the next 2 or 3 nights, I stayed in at the boarding house. I don't think that I felt well. At least I couldn't sleep at all. My sleep was not at all restful. I had dreams, frightening dreams. I remember just before I dropped off to sleep one night, soon after Millie was taken, that I thought to myself, oh dear, I must speak to Mrs. Minns about that cooking, all that heavy stuff.
Dr. Cream. Dr. Cream, will you wake up, sir? Wake up, Doctor. It's all right.
Is anything the matter?
No, I hope you'll forgive the liberty, sir. I'm afraid you were having a nightmare. Sounds as though you were being murdered.
Murdered? You thought I was... Oh. Did I, say anything?
You screamed.
Oh, is that all?
Well, it sounded... Well, I'm awfully sorry.
Oh, no, it's quite all right. It's very good of you to be concerned. Oh, yes, you're that young medical student Mrs. Minns told me about, aren't you, Mr...
Bridgman.
Oh, yes, of course, Mr. Bridgman. Well, we shall have to have a chat one day soon, lunch perhaps. Are you specializing?
I haven't made up my mind yet, Doctor.
Oh, yes, good. Lots of time for that, eh?
Yes. Well, I think I'd better get back to bed.
Well, I'm awfully sorry to have troubled you.
Oh, not at all, sir. Good night.
Good night. Oh, dear. Oh, I wonder, is he lying? Did I say something? Did he hear it? I wonder. Oh, blast! 2 weeks had passed. I was safe. Nobody knew, nobody. Unless Mr. Edward Bridgman, the medical student. I'd taken him to luncheon 2 or 3 times. We'd talked medicine for the most part, but I don't know, he had a way of looking curious, knowing. I decided to write the letter to Scotland Yard.
Commissioner, there's Inspector Waring here. I think we've got something more on that poison case in Hull and Millie Vickers. No, a letter. It reads, to whom it may concern, I have information which can lead to the arrest of the person responsible for the murder of Millie Vickers and Hammersmith. Is it worth £3,000? If so, leave the money at the pillar box on the corner of Kensington and Earl's Court Road. A plain wrapper would do. And it's signed A. O'Brien, private detective. Yes, sir. Yes, we'll see to it right away.
It was aggravating not to be able to learn whether the police had accepted my offer. I could have used the money, but other more important things were occupying my time. Mr. Bridgman, oh, how I loathe bright young men. And I had a feeling that he was watching me, cleverly and carefully. I had to put a stop to that. He knew. That was certain. So I took to following him. As far as I could make out, he didn't voice his suspicions to the police. But there was a girl. He met her from time to time, and one day when they were having tea together, I think he saw me, because from where I stood outside the tea shop, I saw Mr. Bridgman lean across the table and talk rapidly to his sweetheart. That would have to be taken care of. It was, a week later. Oh, I beg your pardon.
Yes?
You must think me awfully rude, but aren't you Edward Bridgman's young lady?
Why, yes, but I don't...
No, we haven't met. But Edward's told me so much about you, though. I saw you together as I went by on the bus last week. You were coming out of a tea shop.
That's right, in Oxford Street.
Yes. Well, look here, I've wanted to meet you for so long to talk about Edward.
Oh?
Well, I mean, you are going to get her.
Well, I suppose so, in a way.
Exactly. I'm frightfully fond of him, you know. As a matter of fact, I've spoken to some colleagues of mine in the profession, you understand. Your Edward has a future, I think.
Oh, that's sweet of you, Mr.
Dr. Cream.
Oh, of course he's spoken of you. You're staying at the same boarding house.
Yes. Well, I hope he said nice things.
Yes, but, well, you know, Edward, he doesn't talk much about anybody, does he?
Yes, that's what I wanted to talk to you about. Look, do you think we could go somewhere? I mean, a spot of tea, care for a drink?
Well, I don't know. You see,
please, it's really important. To Edward. Clever little devil, but a rotten actress. You know Edward, he doesn't talk much about anybody, does he? Of course, I could see through her plan perfectly well. Trap me into an admission of guilt and then call the police. But I was ready for that. It was a little sad. I didn't even know her name. She had a pretty face, pretty figure, but no name. Just Mr. Bridgman's young lady. It was dark when we walked along the quiet road leading to her house. I'd been the perfect gentleman and had escorted her home. She died behind a hedge, convulsively, within 3 minutes. I made sure that there was no outcry. Nobody heard, nobody saw, and nobody cared, except perhaps for a medical student. To whom it may concern. Ask Mr. Edward Bridgman, who lives in Mrs. Minn's boarding house off Tottenham Court Road, what he knows about the murders of Millie Vickers and Joyce Hamilton. He killed them both. I offer this information gratis. A. O'Brien, private detective. Yes?
Evening, Dr. Crane.
Oh, hello, Daisy. Come in for a chat, or is it a sore throat?
Neither. Mum asked me to ask you something.
Oh?
She wonders how long you'll be staying.
Oh, I'm perfectly happy. I hadn't thought of moving. Why?
I don't know.
Oh, Daisy, I want to talk to you. Tell me, have you read about the murders, the poisoner?
Well, who hasn't?
What do you think, huh?
I don't. Mum says he's one of those, yeah, well, you know.
Oh. Well, shall I tell you a secret?
What?
Now, you won't tell.
Oh, of course not. What?
Well, I think I know who the murderer is.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Have you told the police?
Well, yes, I wrote them a letter. I told them who it was.
No.
Who?
Come here. Edward Bridgman.
Oh, you're pulling my leg.
And it's a pretty leg, too, Daisy, but no, I'm not.
But how do you know? No, it's balmy.
No, but I know I do.
Oh, Dr. Cream, you are a one. I should know better than to listen to you. You're always joking.
Darn, I could have killed her. She thought it was a joke. Oh, there'd been so many things to tell her. Clues, proof, everything to help to get rid of the medical student, and she wouldn't listen. And then after she'd gone, I was afraid. I was afraid she might remember. Darn, I could have killed her. It was Saturday, 2 days after I'd posted the letter to Scotland Yard. I thought I'd take a walk to Hyde Park and was leaving my room to go downstairs when the front doorbell rang.
Oh, good afternoon, gentlemen.
Mrs. Mims?
Yes?
We're from Scotland Yard. I should like to have a word with a Mr. Edward Bridgman. Does he live here?
Why, yes. Won't you come in? Is anything wrong?
Is he at home?
In the drawing room, I think. Shall I call him?
If you don't mind.
I'm not at all, I'm sure. Oh, Mr. Bridgman!
Yes, Mrs. Mims? Mr. Bridgman?
Yes.
I'd like to speak to you, if you don't mind. What about? Is there somewhere that...
Oh, afternoon, everybody.
Oh, hello, Doctor.
Nice day. I thought I'd take a walk.
Mom! Mom, is it all right if I go to the cinema with Agnes? Lummy lubber duck. Police.
Now, run along, Daisy. Don't be home late.
Mr. Bridgman.
Come along, Daisy. I'll walk along with you.
You were right all the time, Doctor, and to think I didn't believe you.
What did you say, Miss?
It's a little joke of ours. Nothing at all. Come along, Daisy. I can't wait, you know.
Just
Daisy.
a minute, sir. Miss, you know something about this?
Of course I do. Dr. Cream told me. He wrote a letter to you about Mr. Bridgman here. He told me, didn't you, Doctor?
Dr. Cream, you wrote a letter to us, signed A. O'Brien.
Bridgman's your man, sir. I wanted to spare him the humiliation. That is your man. I told Daisy. I thought he might try to harm me, and I...
What do you say? It's all right, Mr. Bridgman. I don't think we shall need to trouble you. Come along, Doctor, if you don't mind. There are a few questions we'd like to ask you at the Yard.
Oh, of course. Of course. Having set down his case history, my own, let all know that what I did in honor and right. No human power has the right to condemn me. Those that died because of their own misdeeds. I have been merely the instrument of justice. For this, I cannot hang. Neil Cream, M.D.
Dr. Neil Cream, it's time.
Oh, it won't hurt, will it? I can't stand pain. It won't hurt, will it?
Suspense, in which Mr. Joseph Kern starred in tonight's presentation of A Story of Poison. Next week, the story of betrayal and retribution on Devil's Island. We call it The Stool Pigeon. That's next week on Suspense. Suspense is produced and directed by Anthony Ellis, who wrote tonight's script. The music was composed by Rennie Garrigan and conducted by Wilbur Hatch. Featured in the cast were Paula Winslow, Tita Purdom, Virginia Gregg, Herb Butterfield, Ben Wright, Raymond Lawrence, and Ellen Morgan.
Thursday night on most of these same stations, listen for the haunting sound of the Whistler as he once again walks by night. Your reward will be mystery fare well off the beaten track. Your reward will be another rattling good Thursday thriller on The Whistler at the Star's address. Stay tuned now for George Herman with the news, followed by Disc Derby. Join the FBI in Peace and War Wednesday nights on the CBS Radio Network.
And now, tonight's presentation of radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense. Tonight, we bring you a story of betrayal and retribution on Devil's Island. We call it The Stool Pigeon. So now, starring Mr. John Daner, here is tonight's suspense play, The Stool Pigeon.
It was hot that afternoon, which in itself, you understand, should not have been surprising. On that Devil's Island, it was always hot, unless there were the rains, and then it was a different, more steaming heat. There were 4 of us racing cockroaches in Cano's hut. Nakil, Thibault, Cano, and myself. We were what the authorities generously called libres. That is to say, we were free to roam within the confines of the island, but never to leave it. As I say, we were racing cockroaches, and Thibault had already won 3 races. His animal was a huge red beast, fully 3.5 inches in length, and possessing a remarkable stamina. She was named Marie. Made me think of a filly I used to bet on in Paris.
It's hot. My friends, it is hot.
You never get tired of saying that, do you, Thibault?
Yeah.
Does he? Yesterday you said the same thing last month and last year.
You owe me 5 francs from the last race, pay.
Oh, I always lose. Here.
Shall we have another?
No, it's too hot.
Oh, there. Now, who says it's hot? Who said it?
Oh, shut up.
You little maggot. I could break your shell with my nail if I felt like it. But I like you, Makil, so I allow you to speak to me thus.
I heard there's a ship coming next week.
Oh?
Where'd you hear that?
Cano hears everything and knows nothing.
I heard from a guard.
And it's a lie, because I hear everything first.
Did you call me a liar?
I call you a liar.
Stop it. Put away the knife, Cano. We'll all be put in solitary if you're seen.
Hey, a knife. Knife! Where did you get a knife, Cano?
Never mind.
Oh, but I do mind. That's interesting that you have a knife. Are you thinking of escape, perhaps?
Never mind.
I'd like to buy your knife, Cano.
Not for sale.
100 francs?
I'm not selling.
150?
No.
Well, some other time.
I've got half a bottle of wine. Let's go and drink it. I don't feel like quarreling.
Oh, Makil, you have a divine soul. Come, my little maggot. You too, Cano. Exil.
Makil, he of the divine soul, had been on Devil's Island for 8 years. In Marseille, he had been, among other things, an habitual thief and arsonist. He stood 5'6" and had long been befriended by Thibault. Thibault was, by his very stature and past, the king of the libres on the island, a huge and gross man towering over 6 feet.
In Paris, he left behind him a series of syndicate murders for which he'd escaped the guillotine only by underground and political pressures. In spite of his terrible reputation and physical appearance, he was not an unfair man and, on the whole, well liked by the rest of us. Cano was slim and dark, volatile as benzene. In a fit of jealous anger, he'd slit his wife's throat. A handy man with a knife, a moody, uncertain fellow, Cano. I was there because I was caught embezzling from the bank. A stupid thing to do, more stupid to be caught. I looked forward to 6 more years before release.
Gone. Every last mortal drop. Half a bottle doesn't go far.
Not for one with the mouth of a hippopotamus.
I remember a wine in Paris, Montrachet.
Think of Emile. He might be tasting your wine soon. Away from this pest hole. How long has it been now?
9 days. No, 10. He escaped on the 14th.
I give odds he never reaches Maribor. 5-1.
Why not? Why shouldn't he?
Well, the sharks, Cano. The sharks. Very bad this year, I've heard. And his boat wasn't much good either.
Any other reason?
Well, let's wish him luck by not talking about it.
I'd like to talk about it. Mathilde, why else shouldn't he reach Maribor?
You know how many have tried in the past 5 years and been caught.
We all know, don't we, Thibault?
Huh.
Someone informs. Someone tells that swine of a governor.
Yes?
We only think that. It's only a guess. Nobody's sure. Only a suspicion. Isn't that so, Exil?
Someone who knows everything that's happening before anyone else.
He's right. My friend, he's absolutely right. It's true. I've long suspected it myself, and it's wise that it should be brought out into the open. Someone on the island is an informer, making himself fat on the sufferings of others. I shouldn't want Emile to be caught. He was a friend, a good friend.
Terrible thing if he were caught.
The question is, who?
Who not? It could be any one of 100, if it's true.
That pig Louis Dodin, possibly Grosjean. Oh, one could imagine anything from him. What about Grosjean?
Or Barret, or Proust, Galena, Munch.
Maquille, Uxil, Thibault.
Any one of us, even yourself, Cano.
Oh, no, that is a dreadful thing to contemplate, Thibault. No, not one of us. Over here.
Oh, have you seen Thibault? Oh, here you are.
Dodin, huh? We were speaking of you a minute ago. What's the matter?
It's Emile.
What about Emile?
He's been caught. They were waiting for him in a patrol boat off Maribor. They took him.
Oh, sacre.
Now the question is, how did they know he was going to Maribor? I wonder. How did they know?
2 days later, Emile was back on the island, in solitary. We heard that he was in bad shape. Thibault managed to smuggle in some cigarettes through a friendly guard, and that was the best he could do. Things were very bad, worse than usual. The governor, M. Planche, was angry, and restrictions even for Libres became more intolerable. He seemed determined to make us all pay for Emile's attempted escape. There was a lot of grumbling. Even Thibault felt the pinch. Then Emile died. We heard from the beating he received when he was captured. Thibault was very quiet. For a week after, too quiet. Then one day he said,
I'm fed up.
Why don't you take a petition to the governor?
No, there's no joke. I repeat, I'm fed up. Something must be done.
Escape, Thibault?
That or what?
Yes, what?
A stand. A stand for better conditions. No more oppressions. We're prisoners, but there's still rights, human rights. A stand against tyranny and inhumanity.
Bravo. You've just been elected to the Chamber of Deputies.
Yeah. I'm losing patience with you, Cano.
Don't be a fool. We have no rights. Even animals. The governor's dog has more rights than we.
And you know why? Shall I tell you why? Because the governor's dog is clever. We are not clever. The governor's dog sits up prettily and begs for a morsel. He has no other dogs to contend with, no competition, while we fight and snarl among ourselves for the garbage in the street.
It's true what he says.
What does he say? What do you mean, Thibault?
We no longer fought among ourselves, but banded together. A unit of strength, a solid front. We could force the governor and the authorities in France to better our conditions.
Then what do we do? Present a petition as Cano puts it?
No, perhaps not.
Something more forceful, eh?
No good would come of it. If there is to be action, I'd rather try and escape.
How far would you get, Uxie? Are you forgetting the informer?
We don't know. We don't know there's an informer. We suspect, but we suspect everything. There's nothing else to do. Suppose it's the natives who informed they had before. Suppose the governor is just too smart for us. How many choices do we have anyway? Brazil, they turn us back. Dutch Guiana, Emil tried it. They're always watching. The West Indies, Venezuela, in an open boat? Not much chance there. Or do you want the jungle? An informer doesn't lessen our chances too much, it seems to me.
But it does lessen them.
I have been thinking hard, my friends. We're agreed on one thing. Conditions could not be worse, huh? If we could escape, we would do so and take our chances. Therefore, there are two choices, it seems. Better conditions on the island or escape. And both impossible, I would say. You're a pessimist, Exil. That's why you'll never be a success.
He's right, Exil. You'll never be a success. Go on, Tito.
I think that we may accept both choices, one dependent on the other.
What do you mean?
If we had better conditions, we might be able to escape.
Can't you ever talk in a straight line?
Now, which of us has the greatest opportunity to see the governor?
Well, you have. You have, Thibault. You do his garden work.
Exactly.
Come on.
Patience, my friend. Monsieur Planche strolls in his garden. Thibault, he says. Thibault, the roses are not looking very well today. He stands next to me and he says this. And for the indignity this petty official heaps on my head and for what he allowed done to Emil, I could stretch out my hands and strangle him in 5 seconds. You understand? 5 seconds. But if I chose, I would not strangle. I would hold him as a hostage. A hostage? You follow me. Now, let us suppose that a revolt were begun, eh? The guards overthrown.
Oh, la, la, la.
It's a thought.
Nobody's ever tried it.
But the guards would shoot us down. They would have to shoot the governor if they tried.
And if we succeed in what you say, then what? Huh? What happens? What do we do? What?
That remains in my head. You must trust me there.
I trust no one.
Exil? If there were a chance, I'd be with you. I don't look forward to 6 more years of this. Maki.
I'm at your side, my friend, as always. As always.
That leaves you, Cano.
All right.
Excellent. Then we must start to make our plans carefully, very carefully. Cano, stand by the door and warn us if anyone approaches. We don't want the informer to overhear us, do we?
Listening to The Stool Pigeon, tonight's presentation in radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense.
If you're interested in spreading the truth about America to others, CBS Radio suggests you contact Letters Abroad, 695 Park Avenue, New York 17, New York. Letters Abroad, once you've given them a few facts about yourself, job interests, hobbies, age, will furnish you with the name of a correspondent who lives overseas. Send a stamped, self-addressed envelope to Letters Abroad at 695 Park Avenue, New York 17, New York.
And now, we bring back to our Hollywood soundstage Mr. John Daner, starring in tonight's production, The Stool Pigeon, a tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
We made our plans in Thibault's hut. Up to a point, they were simple. Thibault, on the next day, was to await the governor's presence. If he appeared, Thibault would grab him and take him to the greenhouse. We three, Cano, Maquille, and I, would be in the vicinity. I to stand guard over Monsieur Planche with Thibault, Maquille and Cano to spread word among the other libres at the moment had come. If, on the other hand, the governor did not put in an appearance, we would wait for our chance on the next day or the next. As it happened, it wasn't until the 5th day that the thing happened. It was well timed. The island was stifling, the prisoners restless, smarting under the still harsh restrictions which had followed Emil's escape and arrest. We were like a time bomb ready to explode, and the explosion came.
We joined Thibault in the greenhouse. He held the struggling governor in his massive arms.
Go! All right, Mikey, you can do. Get the others quietly, but hurry. Tell them to gather at the governor's house.
Let me go. You fools. You'll suffer.
Do not speak of suffering, Monsieur Blanche. It is dangerous talk for you. Go on, Canu, Makil. And remember, the guards mustn't suspect. Do everything quietly.
Yes, Thibault, come on.
Now, if you continue to struggle, Monsieur Blanche, I shall be forced to break open your head.
What can you gain by this, Thibault? It will mean a life sentence. You know it.
For you, possibly a death sentence. Do you know that, Governor?
What are you going to do?
Hold you as a hostage. We demand our rights as men. You understand? As men.
You have no civil rights.
Human rights. My friend Emil died. He took his chance in escaping, but he wasn't shot. He was beaten to death.
An accident. He resisted.
Things must change.
I can change nothing. The regulations are set in Paris. I simply carry them out.
You overdo your authority. You must apply for better conditions for the men.
I can do nothing.
We shall see. Stay quietly now. We'll wait until the others come back.
We waited. It seemed a long time, and the silence was more terrible than the heat in that place. The governor's hobby was raising orchids, and the greenhouse was full of them. I've always hated the things. Then, suddenly, it was too quiet, as it might be on a summer's day, a moment before a thunderstorm.
What the devil's keeping them?
I don't know. Maybe the guards know what's happened. Maybe they've been caught.
Listen.
They're shooting them. Thibault, they're shooting them. Someone get me alarm.
Where's Makil?
Coming, he's coming.
What happened?
We got word to about a dozen. And word must have got to the guards about him.
I told you. Now, before it's too late, release me. It'll be better for you if you do.
What happened to the others?
Last I saw, they were coming his way. Thibault, it's horrible. I saw 4 of them fall.
All right, come on.
Where?
To his office. Monsieur Blanche. We are taking you to your office. If any guards try to stop us, you know what happens.
You can do nothing, Thibault. Now, give yourself up now. All of you.
Walk. Slowly.
You in there! Come on with your hands up!
The guards, Thibault.
Tell them, Governor. Tell them that we're coming out. With you. Now tell them.
This is the governor speaking. These men are holding me. They're coming out.
Tell them not to shoot.
Don't shoot.
Now, calmly, nicely, we walk out. Stay very close to them, my friends. That way you'll be safe.
As bees clustered around a honeypot, we sidled along the path, past the guards who stood no more than 20 feet from us. It must have been a ridiculous sight, but the honeypot was the governor and our protection from bullets. Then we were in his office. There were no others to join us, and the door closed. It was a strange thing. We none of us thought beyond the moment, and for that moment we were superior beings, prisoners no longer, because we were now the captors. But when I glanced into the courtyard and saw the ring of guards looking up, rifles cradled in their arms, it was then another moment, and one, this time, of fear.
What now? First, the siren must stop. It offends my ears. Governor, give the order.
This is the governor. Turn off the siren.
Good. You're cooperative. It's better that way.
I repeat, what now?
Now, I think we go to the next part of my plan. Makil, little maggot, stay by the window and observe. Report if there is an attempt by the guards to move into the building.
Yes. What do you think you can accomplish? Escape? Impossible. You know that.
It's been done. When there's been no informer, it's been done.
I don't know what you're talking about.
First things first. Now we come to the matter of conditions here.
I have told you.
I know what you've told me, and I say to you, it is within your power to ease the suffering of the men. Give them better food, better medical care.
Your concern for your fellow man touches me, Thibault. Did you have as much conscience over those you murdered?
That is an entirely different matter.
Enough of this, Thibault. What happens to us?
My dear Canu, it is happening to us now. You'll see. Trust me.
The devil with that talk. When do we get out of here?
All in good time. Therefore, Governor, you will sign your pledge to do these things of which I have spoken.
If I don't?
I'll kill you. Slowly. I can. I've had practice.
Let us suppose that I agree to this. What then?
Then you don't die. Now, the second point. We have a chance to escape.
No.
A fair chance. Not the chance that poor Emil had, but then he had no chance at all, did he?
There will be no escape.
In order to escape, there must be secrecy. And there can be no secrecy when you know beforehand of the plan.
You will not have a chance to escape. If you let me go, I warn you, I will deal with you all. There will be no escape.
My dear Governor, I said nothing about when we attempt to make this escape.
What are you talking about? Escape now, Thibault.
Yes, of course, now.
Each to his own desire for me. It may be now or sometime later, but the opportunity, if it comes, must at least allow a reasonable margin of success. That is up to you, Monsieur Blanche.
What do you mean?
Here now, the third point. I wish to know the name of your informer. The one who has, for what must be at least 5 years, supplied you with information concerning every thought and deed of the prisoners.
There is no informer.
You are lying, Governor.
No, I have no need.
You have a great need if you wish to go on living.
What are you up to, Thibault?
Don't interrupt His Excellency Carnot. He is about to tell us something.
If I tell you, will you give yourselves up?
Well, I cannot speak for the others. For myself, yes.
You pig. You sell us out?
No, my dear Carnot. You're free to do as you will. Who is the informer, Monsieur Blanche? I'm getting impatient. Who?
Him.
That is what I wanted to know. Then I ask you one favor, Governor. Do not be hard on these two. All this was done to gain what you've just told me, nothing more.
I don't understand you.
My friend Emile. I have other friends. I should not want to see them go as he went. You had better escape now, Marquis.
No, Thibault. It's not true. He's lying to you.
Run, Marquis, run. Or I'll throw you out of the window.
On my honor, Thibault, I'm your friend. You know me.
I know you. Run.
Gilles, Carnot, you don't believe it, do you?
Run, little maggot, outside. Quickly.
No, Thibault, no.
Hope that the guards shoot you.
Please.
Run.
I would have cut his throat.
That is murder, my friend. You wouldn't want that. I hope that your guards will shoot first and inquire later, Monsieur Blanche.
We all went to solitary. It was expected, but somehow things were different, a little better on the island. How do you explain it? Perhaps the governor was ashamed. Perhaps he admired something about Thibault that none of us understood. How does one know these things? There's not much else to tell. A year after we were released from solitary, Thibault tried to escape. And this time it wasn't a prison informer who turned him in. It was the native from whom he bought the boat. How do you explain these things?
Suspense, which Mr. John Daner starred in tonight's presentation of The Stool Pigeon. Next week, the story of a man who returned home to find his people in the grip of a strange disease. We call it The Frightened City. That's next week on Suspense. Suspense is produced and directed by Anthony Ellis, who wrote tonight's script. The music was composed by René Garrigan and conducted by Wilbur Hatch. Featured in the cast were Parley Bear, Joe Kearns, Tony Barrett, Jim Nusser, and Edgar Barrier.
Tomorrow night on the FBI in Peace and War, a criminal comes up against a determined socialite who doesn't scare easy. And it isn't long before the G-men move in on the ex-con's new racket. Remember, the FBI in Peace and War, tomorrow evening over most of these same stations. Stay tuned now for George Herman in the news, followed by Disc Derby. Wednesday nights, The Whistler brings mystery on the CBS Radio Network.
Transcribe tonight's presentation of radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense. Tonight, we bring you a story of a man who returned home to find his people in the grip of a strange disease. We call it The Frightened City. So now, starring Mr. Harry Bartell, here is tonight's suspense play, The Frightened City.
The train pulled out of Easton at 1:20 in the afternoon. It pulled in 3 minutes earlier. It was a simple thing I had to do then. Watch it cross the bridge over the Wabash, watch it grow smaller, and when it was out of sight, I was finally home. And home was pick up the barracks bag and walk up the small hill from the depot, down into Main Street on an autumn afternoon. Turn left on Sycamore down 3 blocks, where the houses are painted white and there's rockers on the porches and wide elm trees in November color, and the far-off sound of a dog barking, and smell of smoldering leaves, and 595 Sycamore Street. Up the path, up the steps. Jane! Janie!
Who is it?
Janie! Sis!
Nick! Oh, Nicky.
How's the baby, sis?
Oh, fine. He was teething, but he's all right now.
I haven't seen him yet.
Oh, he's beautiful.
How's Johnny? Well, how's Johnny, sis?
What?
Johnny, how is he? Your husband, my brother-in-law, Johnny, how... What's the matter with you?
Didn't you get my letter?
I was aboard ship the last 2 weeks, so
Johnny's dead. Johnny went walking one night, and he's dead. One night, Johnny said he was going to walk down to Main Street. Told me he wanted to stop in the police station. He had something to tell the chief of police. He went out, and he was walking along.
Janie!
Walking along.
Oh, baby.
A car drove by, and someone shot a gun at Johnny. And Johnny's dead.
Who shot Johnny, sis? Janie, I'm talking to you. Who shot Johnny? Janie.
Nick, you've got a nephew. He's sleeping, and he's my son. He's a good baby, and I love him as much as a mother can love a child. Now I want to show you something. I've had it here in my apron, and I've been wondering what to do about it. I found it under my door about a week ago, the day after Johnny was shot. I'll read it to you. Don't talk to strangers. What happened to Daddy can happen to Sonny.
Give it to me.
My little boy is going to grow up. He's going to play with other boys and laugh and cry when he scrapes his knee on the sidewalk and go to school.
Give me the note, Janie.
And live a life. No note, Nicky. These pieces get burned, get forgotten. Gets forgotten like everything else that's happened.
Who did it, Janie?
You're back home. Let everything be peaceful now. Let's keep it that way.
Outside it was November. The long, quiet avenue. And a glimpse of the coat-sweatered woman in her backyard, gathering in her wash, feeling in it the starch of cold autumn wind. Walk to a cross street, then 3 blocks east. Police headquarters. Give a murdered man's name and yours. Ask for the chief of police. And in less than an hour, be shown into it.
Hello, Mr. Crawford. Have a seat.
You know why I'm here.
Yes, I do.
I just came from my sister. She's scared. She gets threatening notes and burns them up. Why?
I don't know.
Who killed her husband?
I don't know.
Look, this happened to my sister. Now it's happening to me. A week ago, a man walked down the street. He was on his way to see you, and he got murdered.
Easy, kid, easy. I got some things to tell you.
Tell me.
4 people saw it happen to your brother-in-law. That night, one of them, a woman, was brutally beaten, tossed into a vacant lot. A kid playing in the trash found her there. 2 days later, another witness got a bomb thrown through his nice new house that almost killed his wife. That's 2. The other 2 won't talk either, like your own sister won't talk. I'm tired, Mr. Crawford. I got lots of things to clear away.
I want their names and addresses.
They'll talk to you, huh?
They'll talk to me. I want those names.
Tell the sergeant in the next office I said you could have them. Mr. Crawford.
What?
Things have changed in this town. It's different. Hang around, you'll see.
Hello?
Evening.
Mr. Osborne?
I'm Mr. Osborne. Something I can do for you?
They told me down at your place of business that you'd be home. It's about Johnny Stewart. You mind if I sit down?
Not at all. Johnny Stewart. Friend of yours?
He was married to my sister.
Your sister? Oh, then you must be Nick. Heard a lot about you from Johnny. How you were soldiering in Korea. Well, welcome home, Nick.
Johnny worked for you, didn't he?
Good accountant. Nice guy, Johnny. One of the best.
You were with him the night he was killed?
That's right. I was with him.
You want to tell me about it?
Johnny was walking by my store just as I was closing up. I told him to wait a minute. I'd walk with him. We walked. We talked. We got to a corner. I told Johnny to wait for me while I went into the drugstore to buy some cigarettes. Just as I came out, a car turned the corner, shot him down, drove away. That's how it was.
What kind of a car?
I wouldn't know.
Well, a sedan, convertible, old, new?
A week ago they put me through this. I didn't know then. I don't know now.
He worked for you. He was your friend. You knew all about him and me and his wife.
Nick, I like it here on my porch swing. It reminds me I'm alive. Don't spoil it for me, Nick.
Mrs. Mason, you were sitting right here at your window, and you saw it happen. You saw Johnny killed.
I didn't say it.
What kind of a car? Just tell me that.
Nothing.
The men who beat you up, could you identify them?
There were weeds and dirty old tin cans.
Please.
And they threw me down, kicked me, my throat. Go away. What are you doing in my house?
You listen to me, Nick. I can remember when Johnny Stewart was a kid and he stole penny candy from me right here in the same drugstore.
And he grew up to be shot down right on this corner, right outside this store. What happened that night, Mr. Nolan?
Nick, I built up a nice business here. 20 years...
What did you see?
Nicky, it was me had to scrub his blood off the sidewalk.
What did you see?
Nothing. That's what I saw, Nick. Nothing.
Hi.
Hello there.
You're Tom Ruxton, aren't you?
That's right.
I'm Nick Crawford.
Glad to know you.
Johnny Stewart was my brother-in-law.
Oh, really?
I understand your wife was almost killed when they tossed a bomb into your house.
That's right. Hazel was out back. Lucky.
That bomb was because you were a witness to a murder, wasn't it?
House looks okay now. I got nice neighbors. Help me. We fixed it up ourselves.
Who killed Johnny? You're scared to death, aren't you?
I got a pretty good house here, mister. A tract house, GI loan. Once I had a nice uniform just like you. Now what I've got's a wonderful wife. Anybody asks me, I'll say Hazel's a wonderful wife and I love her.
Like I said, scared.
Right now, mostly of you. Whatever you're carrying around with you, I don't want to rub off on me or Hazel. So I'll tell you something. Leave me alone.
When I went outside, it was evening in Easton. The air was chill, and the dew was turning to light frost on the lawns. I walked for a while, and I noticed a thing. The people on the streets, they all had the same disease. Their stares, their looks over the shoulder at me, the whispers, the turning aside to let me pass. The word had gotten around that Johnny Stewart's brother-in-law was back in town and was asking questions. Was being pointed out, walked away from. I'd come home. And I'd come home to a frightened city.
Listening to The Frightened City, tonight's presentation in radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense. And now we bring back to our Hollywood soundstage Mr. Harry Bartell, starring in tonight's production, The Frightened City, a tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
The next morning in Easton, clear, bright. Look out the window of an upstairs room where you've slept in an almost forgotten bed. In the glint of sunlight is autumn leaves wet with melting frost.
Nicky, you up?
Yeah, come on in.
Hi.
Hi.
You sleep good?
Yeah. I heard the kid bawling a little while ago. Woke me up. Sit down, honey.
He was hungry. It's all right now. Nicky.
What?
You got home real late last night. I waited up a long time. Then I got tired and went to sleep. My brother's first night home in 3 years. You'd think you could have managed to get home early enough for us to talk.
What do we talk about, Jane?
Well, you. What's happened to you in 3 years?
But Johnny. Dead Johnny. Murdered Johnny. Your husband, the man you had the kid with. That we don't talk about.
Shut up,
Janie.
I told you, shut up.
You're going to yell me into keeping quiet?
I told you I don't want my baby killed. Johnny was enough.
You hate me for wanting to know why Johnny's dead. You hate me for that, Janie?
My baby gets hurt, I'll hate you to your grave.
You got lots of new things in the house, Jane. New furniture, new carpets. Looks nice. Looks expensive.
You coming down for breakfast?
How much did Johnny make working as accountant for Osborne? 50, 60 a week? How much?
Nick, leave me alone.
New sofa, big green leather chair, new carpet. That costs a lot of money. How'd you get him, Jane? Installment plan? Somebody give you a birthday present? How'd you do it, Jane? You got a home hobby? You take telephone subscriptions for ladies' magazines? Or did Johnny do it? Is that it? How? Did he steal? Did he rob? Did he kill?
Nicky!
Tell me!
Ask Osborne.
Osborne. Ask him what?
How we suddenly became rich. How Johnny left a bank account with $30,000 in it.
What are you talking about?
Well, you said you walked the town last night. Didn't you see what's happened to us?
See what?
People walking into back rooms, shops with no customers open late. People walking into back rooms, card rooms, dice tables, numbers.
And Johnny was part of it.
Johnny worked for Osborne.
And he got sick of it and was on his way to tell the cop.
Doesn't matter. If you tell anybody what I said, I'll swear you're lying. That's what I'll do, Nick.
Hi, Nick. What are you doing? Hey, what's the matter with you, Nick?
I want you to look at me, Osborne. And I want you to say to yourself, here's a man who's angry. Say to yourself, here's a man who might reach across the desk and kill me. He hasn't made up his mind yet. On your feet, Osborne. On your feet! Why'd you kill Johnny?
You crazy?
Talk to me. Tell me why you killed Johnny.
I was walking with him, son. Walking with him. How
could you set him up as a pigeon? It's real simple. You walk with him and go into a drugstore and wait until he's killed. Now you know how. Now tell me why.
Been talking to your sister, son?
Osborne, you send your boys down to see my sister. They might live through what'll happen to them, but I doubt it.
Tough boy, soldier boy.
Now here's what else, Osborne. This town suddenly stinks. Dice rooms, card rooms, numbers, and everything that goes with it. My brother-in-law gets a shiny garbage disposal and a new grand piano, real fine rugs, and a large bank account. On how much a week? 75? Accountants make about that, don't they?
We could start you at about 300.
Polite, Mr. Osborne, to a guy who's talking.
500.
Polite, Mr. Osborne. That's the word for just now. I could kill you, Mr. Osborne. Just think about it. With me. Now, here we are in this room. You, the man who's got the whole town of Easton so scared that nobody has a friend anymore. It takes a powerful man to frighten almost 20,000 people, but you did it.
Anything happens to me, Nicky boy, you'd get 1 block from here. Let's think about that, too, huh?
That's what I was coming to. Then there's me in this room, and you're afraid of me. That makes me pretty big, too, but I'm not going to kill you, because this is my town, and it used to be a pretty good town.
The uniform and the flag in the fist, that's all you need.
And there's law. And there's people who need to know what's happening here, and I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do.
Got proof, Nicky? How?
About 8 o'clock this evening, I'm going to take a walk. I'm going to take the same walk that Johnny did. And I'm going into that drugstore and make a phone call. A long-distance call to St. Louis. To a newspaper guy I know. And then it's going to be in the papers about a frightened city. And reporters will come here and they'll find out. You getting real scared, Osborne?
You mean it? About taking that walk tonight, Nick?
I mean it.
Maybe we'll bump into each other.
We will. And on the way home, stop at Lane's sporting goods store. Buy a gun. Buy cartridges. And Mr. Lane is all business. No good evenings. No, how have you been, Nicky? Just ring it up on the cash register, not looking at you. Walk quickly away from you when it was done. And the walk home. A small town held in November twilight. Inside the house, the room where the baby is. Play with him. And Jane comes in, takes him away from you. Tells you there's supper in the kitchen if you want it. And eat alone. Paper propped against water pitcher. Alone. From now on, everything alone. Glance at the kitchen clock. It's time.
You going out, Nick?
Yeah,
Where?
just for a walk.
Will you be late?
Maybe. Don't wait up for me.
Something for you, Nick?
Some change. I want to use your phone.
Sure, Nick. Here, Nick.
Thanks.
Long distance.
Long distance, what's the station-to-station charge to St. Louis?
One moment, please. The charge is $1.20, including tax. What number do you wish, please? What number are you calling in St. Louis, please?
Pick a number.
I'm sorry, sir.
Don't be sorry. Get anybody you want to talk to in St. Louis. Have a talk on me. There's somebody I want to call in St. Louis, but I can't think of who it is.
I will give you information.
No. Just talk to me.
I'm sorry, sir. I can't do that.
Operator, I've got to talk into this phone for just a little while longer. Just to let somebody think I'm not kidding. In case somebody's watching.
I don't understand, sir. Would you like information, sir?
About what?
Do you wish to talk to St. Louis, sir?
You think I should?
I'll connect you with my superior.
No, I got a number. Get me Benton 64373 in St. Louis.
One moment, please.
Never mind, operator. Somebody's just driven up. He's waiting for me outside. Cancel call.
Nick. Nick. Oh, Nick. Sorry, soldier. And just think, you could have died on a battlefield, not in your hometown. Oh.
We both went to the same hospital. Osborne didn't die. He lived quite a long time. Hospital, trial, confession, sentence. Then it was spring in Easton. It was a good spring. And you know how people are. They react to the weather.
Hi, Nick. Trees starting to bud already, you notice?
They get friendly and they smile a lot like winter was a long time. A dark time. It was over.
Come on over to the house when you have a chance, Nick. You do that, you hear?
Grass grows in springtime, but babies grow all the time.
Did you see him? Did you see him, Nick? He walked. My son walked.
Sure, I saw him, sis.
He's growing up.
That happens.
And you know what? He's lucky. He's got a good town to grow up in.
Suspense, in which Mr. Harry Bartell starred in tonight's presentation of The Frightened City. Suspense is produced and transcribed by Anthony Ellis. Tonight's script was written by Morton Fine and David Friedkin.
Music was composed by Rennie Garrigan and conducted by Wilbur Hatch. Featured in the cast were Charlotte Lawrence, Lou Merrill, Herb Butterfield, Vivi Janis, and Tom McKee.